Also, sorry if you heard someone moaning. That was not me moaning. That was me stretching. I'm so sorry. Also, you might hear another voice in the background. I'm watching Sarah's basement right now. I'm gonna like work on Sippy while I'm watching her videos. I like her videos. If you don't know who Sarah's basement is, the cosplayer, he makes vlogs, he makes progress videos on her cosplays, vlogs on the cons that she goes to, and she just has a very like nice like YouTuber to like play in the background while I do other stuff. It's a really chill vibe. Y'all are gonna watch me draw while watching Sarah's Basement. I will force you to watch Sarah's Basement. Hold on, I need to check if everything's connected yet. Mm, 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 mm. Okay. Mm. So yeah, I'm rewatching again. I'm rewatching. I have watched this video like several times now, but it's a Strawberry Miko cosplay progress thingy. I love her cosplay so much. Actually, I'm gonna watch this one now. So I'm gonna watch Miku now. Also, I think I'm gonna like link Sarah's Basement's like channel and in chat. Hold up, give me a moment. Okay, it's playing. Nicer. I'm so sorry if you hear like spring off in the background. I'm streaming on my bed right now. My room's a mess. I'll clean the table later. The phone hurts on the table. Confronting my best friend for trying to get. Yep, so working on YouTube. Yeah, let me just look the specimen's channel and chat. Oh wait, can you guys see chat on the thing? I don't see chat. Hold up. Oh, this one. I'm gonna turn this off. Oh, no worry, I'll let you play the like video after like fix up this. I'll leave behind here. Oh, chat. Beep, beep. Okay, now I see it. Okay, got the drawing. Okay, let me like do this from the beginning.
of Helvetica. Skillshare can help you learn everything you need to know about design in your own time. Skillshare's got a learning path on graphic design basics, and it'll teach you everything from industry standard programs like Illustrator and Photoshop, and walk you through basic design projects like logos and posters. And if graphic design is your passion, Skillshare can also help you make it a new career path. They can take you through the basics of making a great portfolio and give you all the skills you need to make that passion a paycheck. I've been looking at this class called Build Your Dream Business by Isis Brianna, because believe it or not, this channel is a business. And with my art degree, I have no idea what I'm doing. But Isis
Also do tell if you can hear like Sarah's audio, or if it's like too I I can like make it more louder if you need.
and if you want to be a girl boss or a boy boss or a non-binary boss, then make sure you're one of the first 500 people to click the link in the description, because the first 500 people to click that link in the description will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So check out that link while I break down the ridiculous elements of this cosplay. This thing's got a hidden hoop skirt, complicated curved satin stitching, beautiful baubles, bountiful bows, bewildering blues, over 100 scallops, and an unbelievable amount of parachute clips. So buckle up and let's look at the design. Isaki TM, the artist who designed this Miku, was kind enough to release to the world a reference sheet of all the layers of this cosplay. Bottommost layer being a big, fluffy snowball skirt. My plan was to do this skirt with a hidden hoop skirt, like I did for my Kanzuki Renko cosplay years prior, but I'm gonna save you all this stuff about the hoop skirt because it's boring, you can buy one, and the hoop skirt itself has nothing to do with how you hide it. So let's start with how I'm gonna hide a hoop skirt. The way I've done this before is essentially to make a regular skirt with a built-in petticoat that then attaches to a bottom cover. The bottom cover then wraps around the bottom of the hoop skirt, hiding the whole thing. The bottom layer can be as simple as a single layer of fabric, but I made it way more complicated than it needed to be. For the inside cover, I have a very gathered white half circle skirt. On top of that, I have had this beautiful iridescent pink organza in my stash for a little bit, but I had just enough to get me some strips that I can ruffle up and then put on top of the white fabric, but I then want to cover that so it's a little more subtle with some tulle. This is actually just like tulle that I have folded over, and then at the fold I stitched it down. I haven't even trimmed this up to the length of the skirt yet. I'll do it later, but tulle's a pain in the ass to work with, so I just wanted it to be as easy as possible. But yeah, it's gonna be like huh, huh, huh. You see that iridescent, but it's still like a little subtle. It'll be a little more loud once that fabric is gathered, but I think it's going to be really pretty. By the way, I already serged every single edge of this organza because I'm warning you right now, if you ever want to work with a fabric like this, like, yes, it's very pretty. It's a pain in the ass. It's such a pain in the ass. It is like the most pain in the ass fabric I've maybe ever worked with.
Oh damn, wait, what happened, Opal? I just noticed you like got timed out. Those
Pretty
big
bad.
cats!
Actually, I take that back.
But I can like read it in chat. Ah, yes, Hatsune Miku. She's doing a Snow Mickey cosplay. Just look at the like video, or even just look up Sarah's basement. Look up Sarah's basement Snow Miku. Please look at her in the cosplay. It's so good. It's so frilly, so full, so pretty. It's so good. I love it.
A beautiful air threader serger from Bernina that you can check out an affiliate link in the description for. Basically what I need to do now is I'm gonna gather these up, and then I'm gonna sew those onto my white layer. Organza is gonna get sewn onto the white. The tulle is gonna get sewn on top of that. I'm gonna trim everything up, serge everything, top stitch them all together so they're all nice and neat, and then I'm gonna give the whole thing a waistband as if it was just a regular skirt. But once I have that, I will not be able to do anything with it until I have fabric for the outside skirt. So I finally have my fabric for the snowball skirt, and I have a general idea of how a skirt like this is constructed, but I've been a little lost on like how I want to execute it. This skirt is basically a bubble skirt, but they're basically a skirt that is gathered at the top and gathered at the hem. And in this case, I'm doing a circle skirt that's gathered at the top and at the hem. But the problem with this one, the gathers are like really big and irregular. I don't know how good the fabric I got is gonna look that way. I'll show you the fabric I got. I decided to do this in Sherpa, but if I just gathered this at the top and the bottom and put it over the hoop skirt, you would see the hoop skirt right through it. So I have created the weirdest petticoat that anyone has ever seen. So what this is, the very bottom is just a plain cotton circle skirt. Then what I did was I gathered up a bunch of stiff net and I sewed the stiff net around the top of the cotton skirt. And then I gathered the bottom of the stiff net, which also important to note was a little bit longer than the cotton skirt, and gathered the bottom of the stiff net to the bottom of the cotton skirt. Then I did 2 layers of tulle, which I did not attach at the top yet for a very specific reason, and only attached at the bottom. So now I have 1 layer of cotton, 1 layer of stiff net, and 2 layers of regular tulle. The cotton skirt is also the skirt that I plan to gather down the sherpa onto. The sherpa is also a little bit longer than the cotton skirt, which means what it's going to do is it's going to drape down and come up, creating that puffy thing that we want. But before I do that, this cosplay needs pockets, so we're going to put pockets in the sherpa, which I don't know if that's a good idea because there's 2 skirts that go above this, but I don't think I'd be able to put pockets in either of those. And I'm going to do these pockets the same way I did them for my Sakizo ball gown, and I don't think they have like an official name, but they're basically giant 18th century style pockets that are sewn into the garment, but done the way you do a zippered pocket, but without the zipper. I'm going to lay one side of my pocket piece onto where I want the pocket to go on the sherpa on the right side, so the fuzzy side. I'm going to sew a little rectangle in the center of that pocket. When I get that in, I'm going to cut down the center line, shove that side of the pocket onto the other side of the fabric, and then take my other pocket piece, put that onto the other pocket piece, and then sew around those, and now I have a giant pocket with a giant pocket slit, and it's amazing. So now that I've put the pockets in, I can no longer avoid doing the gathering, which I'm just avoiding because I don't know if it's gonna look good. So I'm gonna gather this first, and I'm gonna see if I like it. If I don't like it, I'm gonna rip out the gathering stitches and figure something else out. But because I want the option to be able to rip out the gathering stitches, I'm gonna gather it down by hand. Okay, so when I went to put this on, one of the gathering stitches snapped on this side. So that makes me realize that I probably need to gather this down with an elastic channel instead. And I did go ahead and throw the mock-up I have for one of the side skirts on there just so I can sort of get an idea of how it's looking. And I don't love it, but I guess it's fine. But this poof factor here is not just the petticoat that I already showed you. I also shoved a bunch of like balled up tulle into some random places. So that is why I left this tulle unattached to the top yet, because what I'm gonna do is use that tulle as another pocket and shove a bunch more tulle into it. That way I end up with these like extra roundy poofies that are a little more irregular. But for now, this needs an elastic channel instead of the gathering stitches I did. So I am gonna have to rip all these out. But for the elastic channel, basically all I'm gonna do is sew some bias tape onto the wrong side of the fabric, just sew all the way around it on both sides, and then stick some elastic in there, which I get to do with a newfangled sewing instrument that I have called a bodkin, which is basically just this big needle thing, but it has a ball on the end of it, and you can put the elastic in that and then shove that through the channel, and it's so much easier. If you don't have that, you can always do the thing where you put a safety pin on the end of the elastic and shove it through the channel, but that takes a lot longer, and if the safety pin opens at some point, you are screwed. Alright, so when I got the elastic on there, I got it on the dress form, and it did go over the hoop skirt. Woo! But then I realized that I needed to then take the elastic
Mr.
out
Bashan
because it
great as
needs
a chip,
to
yes.
all the other petticoats first.
Cause wait, let me try to remember what he's made of. He's part seasoning, anglerfish. I think there's some whale in him. There's like a lot of fish thing happening inside him. It'll be like a lot of flavors. It'll be a flavor bomb. But would that flavor bomb be good? It's up to you. Have you ever eaten anglerfish before?
And do an invisible zipper in Sherpa. I don't know why, especially when the other skirts cover this up, but I guess the idea that if they flop up, I don't.
I think the whale part would be nice.
I did an invisible
Think of all that blubber, the fat.
The difference is that this one has little grooves in it. An important thing supposed to do is you're supposed to take the zipper and iron it so you're like pressing the zipper teeth away from the zipper tape so that it opens up a little more so that you can get even closer to the zipper teeth. I just put one side of that on one side of a new cut that I put into the Sherpa skirt, took that over to the machine, took forever lining it up because the Sherpa did not want to really go where I wanted it to go, and you got to get the front and the back of that zipper lined up into that groove. But once it is, I just made sure my needle was going where it needed to go, and I just sewed. And the invisible zipper foot makes it really easy to get really close to those teeth. And then I lined up the other side, did all of that again, and I have the worst installed invisible zipper I think I have ever done. I have no idea how it ended up so uneven at the top, but it's fine. It's going into a waistband anyway. And as you'd imagine, the invisible zipper sure did like to get stuck in the Sherpa pile. So I did cut out some of the Sherpa pile that was around the zipper, and that did help a little bit. Anyway, with the zipper installed, I'll finally tell you how all of these stupid layers go together to make a single skirt. The first thing was to attach the Sherpa layer to its personal
Yeah.
That one got sewed right side to wrong side of the Sherpa.
Okay, but now I'm thinking of it.
The Sherpa layer.
The real question: would bra taste better or worse than regular? Fuck you, Twitch. My podcast is still alive. Anyway, as I was saying, would Sebastian taste better than regular fish and chips, or would he taste lesser than regular fish and chips? Would he be able to rank higher than codfish, dory fish, or is he like bleh? Is it an actual like disgusting? Twitch, my broadcast has not ended. Fuck you, it's still live. I see it right there. I see it right there. You tell lies. Anyway, my conclusion of my ramble. I think Sebastian would taste disgusting compared to other fish and chips. He tastes worse than Dory.
Bottom of the skirt, hoop skirt's totally hidden. Top of the skirt, hoop skirt's totally hidden. Now I just need to do the attachments and this waistband.
Right back there.
I then have to create my mechanism to connect the waistband.
Lord.
Originally I thought I was going to do
the only difference I'm doing is that I'm streaming on the bed. Nothing else is the difference. All the settings are still the same, except there's Sarah's basement. Bingo.
The actual cosplay was September 1st, and we are now midway through October. Long story short, half of my fabric order got held hostage in online fabric stores' back order hell. It wasn't actually even gonna come until the end of November, and it wasn't until a series of emails that I got them to send me some other fabrics. But now I finally have all my fabrics, and I have cut out basically all the pieces that I need, so I can finally start working on the cosplay. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about kimono. Obviously, this cosplay is not a traditional kimono in any sense, but parts of it are inspired by a real-life thing worn by real-life people. So I want to talk about what things are inspired by actual kimono and what things aren't. Originally, the word kimono just meant thing to wear, but eventually it started to refer to a traditional style of Japanese clothing made with large, blocky cuts of fabric. And they usually don't have sizes because kimono are fitted by wrapping it around your body and then tying it and folding it and tucking it and carefully placing it to get the perfect straight line fit. That's like a big thing, is it's supposed to be straight. The upper half of this cosplay with its multiple collars, the hanging sleeves, and the wide belt all call back to that traditional silhouette. But the bottom half is not like it at all. Because remember, kimono is supposed to be straight, so there wouldn't be a big puffy skirt. The big puffy skirt, though, does sort of indicate that this is more inspired by wa Lolita, which, as you can imagine, is a subset of Lolita fashion inspired by traditional Japanese fashion, which I think is so fun because Lolita is a Japanese fashion inspired by Western fashion, and then wa Lolita is Western to Japanese to then double down on the Japanese, but including some of the Western stuff with the big puffy skirt. I just think that's fun. It's a just mix of so many things. Anyway, to understand what's going on with all those layers, I did a whole bunch of research on what layers are normally worn with kimono. And looking at Isaki's reference sheet, Miku has some fun, fluffy underwear, but if we ignore that and look at that white collar, that in traditional kimono is something called kimono underwear. That's the only thing I saw that it was called, but that's traditionally a plain white layer that is sometimes sleeveless and sometimes it has sleeves, but then what goes on top of that is I think called a juban. That's what the pink collar is. A juban is almost like a kimono that you wear under the kimono. It being different than the underwear.
Please Twitch. Twitch. I'm back. Yay!
And because Miku is wearing both the underwear layer and the juban, it indicates that this is supposed to be special event wear or formal wear, as opposed to something like a yukata, which is worn to more casual events like summer festivals and is not typically worn with the underwear or a juban. Yukata are also usually cotton because they're worn in the summer, and cotton is nice and cool. Whereas like formal kimono are normally made of like silk, though nowadays there's plenty of polyester ones. But the outermost layer is where it starts to get like weird and cosplay-y. The navy blue thing. I tried to look up if there's any kind of traditional Japanese garment that looks anything like that, and I was not able to find anything. Haoris are a thing, but they don't ever look like that. We're gonna chalk that up to artistic interpretation. So I don't have a traditional historical reference for the navy blue thing, but then the other part of it is that in the reference, the navy blue coat thing is also attached to the lighter blue kimono sleeves. So I'm gonna call that whole thing the actual kimono, because it's our outermost layer, it's all one piece in the reference sheet, and I'm gonna create it as all one piece. Also, I'm not trying to say in any sense that I'm gonna make this cosplay as traditional as I possibly can. I can't. It's not a traditional shaped kimono. But I wanted to know as much as I could about what it's inspired by, because how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been? And relevant tangent, when I was in elementary school, we had this one teacher who was of Japanese descent, and every year she would have her mom come to her class, and her mom was like born in Japan. And when her mom came, she would bring kimono, and she would talk to us about them, she would let us touch them, and she even let some of the kids wear them, and I got to be one of those kids. I was in like 3rd grade, and I still vividly remember this woman carefully tying and tucking and putting this garment on me, and how it was like the first time in memory that I put on something and it felt special. Like the fabric felt special, the way it was made felt special. It felt like it was made with love and care, and then it was put on me with love and care. And it stuck with me enough that I still remember it. And I don't remember why I walked into the kitchen most of the time. And I tell you the story because my goal for the cosplay is to be able to put 1 ounce of how special those garments felt into my own cosplay. And anyway, I already whipped through making that plain white underlayer, so let's move on to making our pink juban. So the fabric I have for this part is a pink polyester charmeuse, and obviously my pattern is not super traditional, but get used to seeing it because I have to use the same pattern for both the juban and the actual kimono. This one is not going to be lined, and the kimono is going to be lined. And because I'm not lining this one, I needed to get rid of all my raw edges, so I went ahead and I serged all of my pieces. But what I have on the table right now is 2 back pieces, 2 front pieces, and 4 sleeve pieces, because there's 2 sleeve pieces per sleeve. The construction of this is also really simple, but I am going to do something a little bit differently to make it easier to put the sleeves on. So I'm going to start by taking my back pieces, sewing the back seam together. Once I have that, instead of sewing the side seams together, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my front pieces and sew them to the back pieces only at the shoulder seams. That way, my side seams are still open, which is what's going to make it really easy.
It's a bit long, ain't it?
But first I gotta sew my 2 sleeve pieces and make them 1 sleeve piece, and right now all I'm gonna do is sew them across the top so that the 2 become 1. And so now what I can do is I can take my front and back pieces, I can lay them out flat and also the sleeves onto the arm's eye while the whole thing is still flat, which means I don't have to go round and round on the machine, which is great. But it's also important because the other thing with kimono, and I don't super know the specifics or how big these are supposed to be, but there's supposed to be like an opening on the bodice part under your arm. So your side seams are not supposed to be sewn together all the way. And then there's also supposed to be an opening in your sleeve. Now, traditionally, a kimono sleeve is supposed to just be a block that goes right off. It doesn't usually have this extra square part that I have on mine, but that's what Miku's looks like, so that's why I did it this way. But I do want to have an opening on the hanging part, so what I'm going to do is leave this whole part open. Leave a couple inches open on the hanging part of the sleeve, and then sew the rest of that up. For the parts that I left open, they are serged and they're not going to fray, but I don't want that serging peeking out. So what I'm going to do is fold those edges over to the inside, press them flat, and then do a little top stitch to keep them in there. We have to do a lot more complicated stuff with the one with the lining, but for this part, that's all we got to do. Once I get those pieces that are going to be open pressed, I am then going to go through, put my sleeves right sides together, and I'm going to sew down the bottom of my sleeve, so all the way around my curve, until I get to the part where my hand will be coming out. And this opening, honestly, all of the openings are kind of just arbitrary because I don't actually know how big they're supposed to be, but as long as it's big enough for my hand to get out, it's fine. I'm really just estimating how big that's going to be. So now I got to do the collar, and so I have this turned right sides out, and here's my collar piece. I already went ahead and ironed on the interfacing, and then I also pressed up all the edges so that now I can kind of use this the way you do bias tape. So what I'm going to do, I've got the center marked, so I'm going to take this part and I'm going to put it right sides together with my center back seam. I'm just going to pin that all the way around as far as it goes. You'll notice it doesn't go all the way down because it's not supposed to. And this is sort of an arbitrary length. It's actually probably...
So I hope you all know, if you watch a Sarah's basement and she's doing like any like films and sewing, she's not a professional. She may be kind of like right now a professional cosplayer, but she's not a professional seamstress. So sometimes she just fucks it. She just like wings it, like the sewing part, and if she fucks it, she just like, well, I fucked up. Then to like redo it a third time. That's Sarah's basement, y'all. And she even has her own motto. You're not here to learn or whatever. You're here to watch her suffer.
She's got these little fluffy, puffy cuffs, and in the layer breakdown, they are on the jubon, and I do not know yet how I want to attach them. Okay, so I did manage to get the cuffs on by machine. Now we have these. Still need to go through and double fold and finish this part, but I do want to try it on. Normally, kimonos just close with ties. They don't have any real closures. But because this costume has to dance, I think I might end up having like hook and eyes or snaps or something. But for now, we'll do a little tie. There we go! Woo! This here is a little short, but you shouldn't see it under the other layer, so it doesn't super matter. The next thing I want to do is talk about the color blue. So the first
Now how I imagine it to look like.
that light color was lilac, but when I finally opened
Maybe I should have sketched it out for.
eyedropper tool to see what
But
color it actually
I have how it looks in my head, but it's not coming up like I have it in my head.
Purple. There's no red in it. I don't know why I thought it was purple. The biggest problem was that there was no green. And that's a problem because in a lot of fabrics, a lot of the light blues that you find, hardly any of them are like a true powder blue, a true periwinkle, where it's just a little bit of blue. And I had a really, really hard time finding a fabric that was that really, really light blue. So I was like, okay, I'll get white cotton and we'll dye it. Cotton dyes like a dream, but then there was another problem. My go-to dye company, Rit Dye, in their regular dye synthetic line, they don't make like a true blue. And so I was searching and searching and searching for a blue dye that'll work on cotton that doesn't have any other color in it than blue. And finally I was like, I wonder if there's a natural dye that's just blue. And guess what? There is. This is Izome, aka Japanese indigo. It is a natural, only blue dye made from an indigo plant. And lucky for me, unlike other natural dyes, it's actually really easy to work with. I have not ever used it before though, so we're gonna do a dye test. So we're gonna get a bucket and we're gonna test some isome. So I have my swatches. I have a bucket of 203-ish ounces of water. And for once, I'm actually following instructions. This is not something I ever do. But I don't want to mess this up and I don't know how to do this.
Sorry, my earbuds like disconnected.
More about indigo dye. I will link some other videos down below
I don't know if y'all were still able to like hear what she was saying, but I
basically,
could
this piece
not.
of paper is telling me that the appropriate amount of water is 10 times the weight of the fabric. Now, I'm only using swatches right now, but I want to use the same amount of water that I'm going to for the big piece of fabric, and because I have 20 ounces of fabric, I did weigh this, by the way. I weighed it on my food scale by putting the fabric in a bowl. 10 times 20 ounces is 200 ounces. I have about 200 ounces right there. I want it to be the same so that I know that the blue comes out the same. I'm gonna go ahead and pour my water into my bigger vat, and the reason why I'm not doing it directly in the bucket is because you're supposed to like massage the fabric so that the dye gets distributed evenly. Now that doesn't seem like enough water for the amount of fabric that I have. That doesn't seem... Okay, we'll just do it for this test. Maybe I'm just dumb. But these need to be wet. So I'm gonna get them wet. And because this is supposed to be light blue, I'm just gonna do 1 tablespoon. I'm supposed to shake it. Supposed to shake it. Okay, and also, because this is a natural dye, I don't need gloves. Here goes the tablespoon. Oh.
That's not supposed to be.
Was it on my desk? I don't know. But we're doing it. Does it say how long you're supposed to leave it? Oh, okay, you're supposed to massage it in the dye bath for 1 to 2 minutes. I'm gonna do something fun too. Hold on. So the other thing indigo is used for, well, the big thing it's used for, honestly, is tie-dye. Along with my swatches, I think I'm gonna tie-dye a shirt. I've prepared a tie-dye. I don't know if that'll look good. I just kind of tied it, but I haven't done tie-dye in a long time, and I don't really care how this comes out. I just want to see the color. Okay, so here we go. Swatches go in. I'm supposed to do this for 2 minutes. It seems like the big thing with indigo is dipping and re-dipping to get the darker colors, which is a good thing for me because I want a really light blue. On camera, this probably, I mean, does that look light blue to you? It probably just looks white still. You might have to do more than 1 dip, or maybe just more dye. I don't think my tie-dye is gonna come out very tie-dye. I don't think I tied it tight enough, but it definitely looks blue now, and it looks consistently blue. I guess that's not what you want with a tie-dye. But the swatches look consistent. Okay, I think it's been 2 minutes. So now I'm supposed to dry them, and that's literally it. I might need more dye than what I used, but I will make that decision tomorrow. You like my new totally not tie-dyed but totally definitely blue shirt? Anyway, I ended up doing a couple other dips, so I have 3 swatches now. One that I did on camera, so it is...
Don't look at it too much. Oh, hello, Takura. It's been a while. I'm right now suffering with spirals. Apparently I don't know how to draw spirals. I think I did it right. I'm not gonna like dwell on too much. If I keep looking at it, I'm gonna see more like flaws in it. Don't look at it. Anyway, yeah, Takura, I'm not drawing or watching like a YouTube video. Watching a cosplayer. He's making a snow Miku. It's a hold up. It is a almost 2-hour long video. You're right.
The dye gods, please indigo plant. Make this the color that I want it. Okay. I'm gonna make a mess though. Kitty is still on the floor and she's about to get wet, and I don't think she's gonna be happy about that. Okay, here we go. So we have to massage it for 2 minutes once I get it all in there. Set a timer for 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Counting down. Now this is where the massaging is actually going to matter because there's a lot of fabric in here. But the good news is, I mean, it doesn't really cover the fabric. So maybe I should use more water. I think as long as I massage it or knead it. That's what the instructions say. The instructions say to knead it. So Kitty, would you like to help? Would you like to come make some biscuits on this? That'd probably be bad for you. But it looks blue. It's definitely looking blue. Do you kind of like the idea that it looks a little like hand-dyed like the shirt does. Though I did not say what I ended up doing with the shirt was because I couldn't so I guess we take her out. That was
Good enough.
than I was expecting. What I didn't say was what I did with the shirt was I left it in the tub, like halfway through the tub overnight, because I was trying to get it to be like a split dye, and that didn't really work. But hey, my shirt's blue. Again, all you're supposed to do after you dye it is dry it. Let me see. It looks pretty freaking blue to me, man. So I'm gonna throw it in the dryer with my junk towel, and then I will see if I need to dip it again. She's dry. It looks really good, but compared to the reference image, it's still a little too light, so I think I'm gonna dip it again. But I do really like this color. I just think it's a little bit too light still. She's wet again, so let's dip her again. Set a 2-minute timer.
2 minutes. Counting down.
Thanks, Siri. Hopefully the timer doesn't scare the crap out of me again. One thing is for sure, though. It is definitely only blue. Though I don't know if I'm just, like, purple colorblind, but I swear, when I look at that color, I see purple. Here's the other thing, though, that I want to make clear. Color accuracy is one of the stupidest things to get really strung up on. I once did a Rosalina cosplay that I never finished, because when I posted it on Instagram, everybody, like, bullied the shit out of me for it, like, not being the exact shade of bluish, turquoise-ish cyan. And it's like, yo, there's only so much fabric out there. There's only so many colors out there. And if I want to make a thing to wear on my body to an anime convention, you don't need to bully me that I didn't get the color completely correct. But this blue was so hard to find that I feel like this is worth doing. This is also kind of fun. I also like just learning new stuff about this. But yeah, don't get hung up on color accuracy. If people bully you, fuck 'em. Maybe leave this in for 1 more minute, maybe? Be darker, but not too dark. I didn't say this already. If you're using a natural dye, you need a natural fibered fabric. So you need a cotton, a linen, a wool, a silk, a jute. Some stuff's made out of jute, right? Bamboo? I think that's it. I think that's all the natural fibers. One of those, it's plants, it's an animal's fur, it's a bug's cocoon, or it's leather. You don't think you can do leather with this. You done? I'm once again going to put this in the dryer again.
That's fine.
And we'll see if we need another dip. I think
It's kind of fat. It's like squishing. I was like, oh, so fat. Like, oh god. Oh yeah. What the hell is this squish? It's fat, and he's not squishing myself. But damn. Biology.
And eyedropper tooling everything. And honestly, depending on the light and the camera, honestly, according to Illustrator, I think this is as close as we're gonna get. I think this works. I think it's blue. And I will hold up a piece of the navy, and I think they work really well together. And like I said, color accuracy should not be a thing that you stress out too much over, because what's more important is, do the colors look good together? And I think these look lovely together. After literally months of waiting for the cotton, my naturally dyed with Japanese indigo blue fabric for my blue part of my kimono that's multiple colors of blue and gonna be multiple fabrics. But I finally have it. So now I can finally start making my actual kimono. So when I cut them out on the kitchen floor, I finally saw them in the sunlight and they looked really, really light, but I did go ahead and cut them out. But I wasn't past the point of no return yet, because the final question was, how did this blue look next to the white that's going
Damn, he looks like he was a turd.
There wasn't enough contrast.
I'll be fine.
I did take my cut pieces and I did one more dip. You can dye your cut pieces, by the way. It's just a little more risky, because if you end up with any blotches or anything, you can sort of work around the blotches. But because I did this to my cut pieces, I risked getting blotches, and guess what? I did, but it's fine. There's a little bit more contrast now, so the wait is over. To become one. It's complicated curved satin stitching time. So I'm doing this snowflake. So instead of tracing this onto this, I traced this onto this. This is Heat and Bond Light. Heat and Bond Light is basically a double-sided tape for fabric that comes in a roll, so you can use it for big shapes like this, and it works really
Is that how
well for
spirals work?
satin stitching because it completely secures the thing you're about to satin stitch to the thing you're going to satin stitch it
I'm
to.
just gonna say yes and move on with my life.
Because satin stitching moves everything around. When you get it, it's got one side that's got sticky bubbles on it and one side that has paper on it. So the first thing I'm going to do is take it sticky side down and iron it onto the white fabric. I'm not going to cut the snowflake out until I've got that heat and bond on there, because having the heat and bond on there with its paper and all that stuff makes it a lot easier to cut out a complicated shape. Trust me, you don't want to be trying to cut out a snowflake like this without the assistance of that paper. These also have a little sun and a little moon in the middle of the snowflakes, so I also went ahead and made my little sun and moon the same way with the heat and bond on the back. But I need to get this onto this first, and then I can put this on the snowflake. So now all I gotta do is take both of these over to the iron, peel the paper backing off, which will show us the other side of that glue, put this piece glue side down onto my sleeve, and iron it on. Once that's on there, I can do the same thing to my little moon, and we can get to satin stitching. Look at that! So the big thing I wanted with the snowflake is to have a different texture than the cotton, and the Dupioni with the dull bridal satin moon, I love it. It looks so cool. To add to all of this fun shininess, I have some special thread that I'm going to be satin stitching this on with. I actually got some iridescent thread to do this with. Now, doing satin stitching in iridescent thread or any plasticky thread is going to make it a little more difficult. That plastickiness is going to mean that that thread is probably going to be likely to snap and be pretty annoying. So it is a little bit of a risk. I do recommend that if you get an iridescent thread, you do go for a higher quality one. I have one that I bought like a year and a half ago for Ronnie. It was a little cheaper and it did straight stitches okay, but it could not do a satin stitch on any of my machines without breaking.
Oh wait, is that wrong? I can fix that.
Wind yourself a bobbin that has the same thread, so you should be using iridescent thread on the top and the bottom to help the machine's tension. I had a lot of trouble getting my FOF or my crafter to wind a bobbin of this iridescent thread. So after doing a whole bunch of tests, I decided to do this on my grandma's machine, my FOF, with iridescent thread on the top and a pink bobbin in the bottom. It just seems to be working better without the iridescent thread in the bobbin for whatever reason. And I'm also doing it on the FOF because it has a speed setting, and doing satin stitching on all of these complicated curves is gonna really be pretty freaking hard to get looking good, so I need to take it slow and steady. I will be spending my whole weekend at the FOF satin stitching 4 snowflakes, 2 moons, and 2 suns, and hopefully they will end up looking good. Despite all of the tests I did, the FOF kept breaking the thread every like couple inches. I tried a couple things to stop that, but the big thing was I thought I could not change the tension on this machine. I could, it's just hidden within the many weird Game Boy Advanced looking menus it has. And after rethreading like 15
Oh, that's
times,
better.
I switched over to the crafter because I at least knew where that tension dial was. And with the tension actually turned down, it only broke the thread once or twice for the entire rest of the sleeves. And I will take that over the 15 sometimes the FOF did it on one panel. The crafter might not have all the computerized luxuries of my grandma's machine, but by God, sometimes you just need a machine where you at least know where the tension dial is. Anyway, if you don't know how to do a satin stitch, you might think of satin as just a shiny kind of fabric, but it's actually a weave. A weave that has long threads skipping over other threads, which is what makes it shiny. But a satin stitch is what we call any kind of stitch with long threads sitting right next to each other. In hand embroidery, you can do it at much longer lengths, but when you're doing it by machine, you're limited to the machine's max stitch width. The stitch width determines how wide those stitches are going to be, and we can use a zigzag stitch to get a bunch of parallel ones. So then if we take our stitch length and we make it really small, they'll all actually sit right next to each other. How short you make that stitch length, though, is going to depend on the fabric, and it's going to depend on your machine. On my machine, it's like 0.5, 0.6-ish. And if you take it too far down, the fabric won't move anymore. So do some tests until you find the sweet spot. But doing a zigzag stitch that close together on a lighter weight fabric can make it bunch up really bad. And to combat that, I always use tearaway interfacing under what I'm satin stitching. And that makes sure it comes out nice and neat and flat. Satin stitching is easiest with straight lines, and curves are kind of really difficult. Because what you gotta do is you gotta constantly guide the fabric into curving, which takes a lot of sewing intuition, because you gotta pull back with one hand and push forward with the other, perfectly in sync with the speed of your machine. And if you're doing a perfect circle, it's even more difficult, but it can be really helpful to aim for the very edge of that applique. So you know for sure where that line needs to be all the way around, because if you stray even a little bit, it's gonna end up wonky. It's like that one moon in Mario Odyssey and Sand Kingdom, except if you mess this one up, the thing you already put work into is gonna look like a blob instead of a circle. But with my complicated curved satin stitching finished, I think it's finally time I over-explained Hatsune Miku herself. So who's Hatsune Miku? In the simplest terms, she's the mascot for a piece of software. So Vocaloid is a music production software that uses something called voice banks, which are artificial voices that you can make sing. So it's sort of like text to speech, but you can change the pitch. And it's been around since like 2004. Hatsune Miku was introduced in 2007. There were Vocaloids before her, but when she came around, she was dubbed 01, and she was immediately the #1 princess of the world. All right, after Miku, we got 02 twins, Rin and Len, then Miku's occasional love interest, Luca, then Kaito and Maiko and Gakupo, and now there's so many Vocaloids that I don't know who most of them are. But weirdly, and I didn't know this, there's only 4 Vocaloids with numbers. It's 1 through 3. There's 2 2s and 1 1 and 1 3. There's only 4 of them that have numbers, and I don't know why. For a long time, I think I thought everybody had a number, but they don't. Except for Best Girl Teto, who is not a Vocaloid, but was almost a Vocaloid, but that's a story for a different day. But yeah, there are other voice bank softwares, some of which even also have their own idols. But yeah, nowadays there's so many Vocaloid voice banks, and weirdly, I think I just assumed that when you buy Vocaloid, the software, that you get Miku with it, but you don't. You get a couple base voice banks, and you have to buy Miku separately. And weirdly, on the Vocaloid English website, you can't just buy Miku. But if you switch it to the Japanese website, Miku is there in several languages, including English, and I don't know why you wouldn't at least sell the English-speaking Miku on the English website, but they don't. But yeah, that's who Miku is. She's the mascot and headliner for a voice bank software. And through the years, many different producers have created iconic music through her voice. So Vocaloid, the company, is making the software, but it is individuals who are creating all of the music that the fandom knows and loves. So all of her personality, all the lyrics, they're just made up by people. And at base level, a lot of what people love about Vocaloids and Miku is the music. But there's also rhythm games like Project Diva and Colorful Stage, and it's also about cosplay and dances and art and Miku Miku Dance, which is a dance program, and I don't know if that's super popular still, but the Miku Miku Dance used to be a huge thing back in the day. And I say back in the day because Miku has been popular for a long time. She was the one-time star of a Domino's pizza ad, and now she's still beloved by so many people. And as a 29-year-old who has been into this since she was 17 years old, it just warms my heart that all these teenagers think this thing is cool that I thought was really cool when I was 17, and that it's still relevant, and it makes me feel a little less old. Anyway, she's not just a thing living in your Wi-Fi. On August 22nd, 2009, the world got to see Miku and all of her friends perform on stage in hologram form. Though they're not actually holograms. They're actually done by the Pepper's Ghost effect. So what it is special pane of curved glass, and then there's a projector behind the glass which projects them onto the glass and makes them kind of look 3D. It's like the Tupac hologram, or the way they do the ghosts in the Haunted Mansion. It's not a real hologram. But when I was 17, holograms were real and anime girls were corporeal, and I couldn't believe it. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. And after being a fan of this thing for over 10 years now, how old am I? Yeah, over 10 years. Anyway, next year I'm gonna get to see the Miku hologram at Miku Expo, and I'm very excited.
Oh,
Anyway,
speaking of Miku,
in a little bit.
I'm
First,
gonna
we gotta
get
get
tickets.
back
I'm
to those
so
sleeves.
about that.
All the satin stitching done.
Damn
I
it.
went through and I added
I'm not
extra
buying the
stuff like
scalpel
pearls
tickets.
to
I
them. I did do
refuse.
these semi-randomly, but remember how I said I got a couple blotches from the dye? Well, I strategically placed a couple snowflakes so that they would cover up some of the blotches. They don't completely cover them all up, but hey, at least they're really pretty. And I'm pretty happy with them. But the next logical step is to take my two panels and sew them together, but I'm not actually going to do that yet. Because basically every piece of this cosplay, every panel, has some kind of detail that I need to do to it first before I can sew them all together. So I'm actually going to move on to the upper sleeves. The fabric I have for the main part of the sleeve
Okay,
is
pretty
this
damn good.
navy blue velvet. I'm actually going to be working with two kinds of velvet for this project.
Oh no, drawing spirals.
It's
so hard.
Normal velvet is
I wanna
like
die.
slippery and it's really hard to sew with because you kind of have to like hand sew everything together first before you do your actual stitch. You have to use a walking foot or it'll get all messed up and your seams will look really ugly. But because this is an upholstery velvet, it's meant for like couches and stuff. So it has like a good amount of stiffness to it. So I think I should be able to use this pretty normally, but the detail that these need is kind of terrifying and not something that you can just easily look up. If you look at the reference image, these sleeves and the navy blue skirt, they don't just have scallops, they have like double scallops, inverted scallops, bound scallops. I don't really know what you would call these, because this is not a thing you really see in regular clothing. You wanna know why? Because it's really hard to do. The closest thing I could find was a couple people binding quilts with scallops, but any tutorials I saw online, they weren't doing traditional scallops where it has a lump and then a point. The quilt scallops I saw were lump, inner lump, lump, inner lump. These scallops on this Miku have a lump and a point. And if you tried to do them in binding, you would end up having to do a mitered corner on every single corner. Now that's not that hard to do, but getting every single mitered corner to look right and sit flat and not pucker
Good
and
enough.
all face the same way would be really annoying. So I'm not gonna do that. I figured out a different way to do it on my own, and I am lovingly referring to these as inverted scallops because we basically have to invert them first to even put them on. So before I even touch the blue fabric, I have cut a very strangely shaped piece of my white fabric. This is again the white polyester Dupioni, and with this I have also done some weird to my pattern. This was the pattern. I've cut it into two pieces.
Come on,
See
Greta.
where this is going. When
You should not crash, Greta.
I indicated where the scallops would be, and then I also added seam allowance to where the scallops are. Cut the pattern apart right where the scallops are supposed to start. So then I just cut these white pieces
Is this saving or not?
to where I can fit this
Oh.
pattern piece on top of them. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my pattern piece and I'm going to trace along just the top edge right now. Not the bottom, just the top. Once I have that marked on the fabric, and I have two layers of the white fabric, I'm going to pin them together and I'm going to take them over to the machine and I'm going to sew directly on that line that I just drew. We're not worrying about the seam allowance. We want to get this line exactly where those scallops are supposed to start. Once that stitch is in, I'm going to trim up just the top side and do nothing to the bottom. But I'm going to make sure I get all of those corners clipped, and I'm going to go around with my pinking shears along my inverted scallops and cut them out with my pinking shears, because that essentially gives all those curves a bunch of little notches. If you don't have pinking shears, you can just cut a bunch of little notches, but those notches or the pinking shears help that curve actually curve when we turn it inside out, which is the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to turn all of this inside out. Still haven't done anything to the bottom of this. And with that turned inside out, I'm going to turn all my points and my curves out nicely. I'm going to stick my crochet hook in there and get all my points. And then I'm going to take it over to the iron and I'm going to press the whole thing flat. So now I have a clean edge for the top side of my scallop. So now I can take this piece, place it on top of the blue velvet, pin it in place exactly where it's supposed to go, and then take it over to the machine and top stitch it on. So now the blue velvet has the top side of those scallops, but it still doesn't have the bottom. To get the bottom, we're gonna bag line the whole sleeve, including the part that has the white on it. So I'm gonna take my blue piece and I'm gonna grab its lining, which is just a piece of the white cotton. I'm gonna put those right sides together, and I'm gonna use my pattern again to mark exactly where the seam goes. So I cut off the seam allowance that was still on my pattern so I could see exactly where the seam goes. And that's important because I'm essentially scalloping twice, right? And if I tried to do this with seam allowance by eye without the exact guide of where that line is supposed to go, I risk having the bottom of the scallops not match the top side, which would look really weird and wonky. So I want to mark it exactly where the seam goes. With that in, I can clip all my corners again, use the pinking shears again, turn everything inside out, and now I have perfect inverted scallop trim on the edge of this sleeve. And I have to do it to the other sleeve and to the blue skirt. So I'm gonna go ahead and do those. And because I'm still not done with detailing, I'm gonna move on to that pink skirt that's supposed to go with the jubon. The pink skirt's really simple. It's just 2 layers of dull bridal satin, and then I marked all of the scallops on the outside. And these are totally straightforward scallops, but they're really small scallops, which makes them a little bit harder to get looking good. You basically have to curve the fabric with your own hands, similarly to how I did the satin stitching on those curves. You gently curve the fabric by pulling on one side and pushing with the other. And when you get to the corners, you need to pivot. And to pivot, you need to put your needle down into the fabric, pick the presser foot back up, and then pivot the whole thing. Come back down and do the other curve. It's not particularly hard, but if you don't have a lot of finesse on the sewing machine yet, your scallops might come out a little blocky. But yeah, with the tiny scallops in, I pinked the edges, I pushed them out again, I pressed them flat again, and then I had to bead the whole thing. So I did that next, and I just did that with bugle beads and some little teardrop beads. But that's all I can do for the pink skirt right now because I don't actually know how I want the skirts to go together yet. So I'm gonna avoid that and move on to the snowflake skirt, which has the most detail of any of them.
Okay, I'm gonna lie down and admire my sparrow from afar. Hopefully it looks nice. Looks pretty good. And it's gonna be tiny, so you wouldn't be able to tell where I like messed up. This is why we watch Sarah's Basement. We share in our failures. God, that is good enough.
Really did not want to have to try and satin stitch a bunch of tiny circles. I decided to make little, they're not like buttons, so I'm gonna call them baubles. Made a bunch
Now I'm
of
thinking when it's climbing on the ceiling, because usually when it's climbing on the ceiling, I like anything that I can like fall down to gravity, I would do it like that. But this one, what could I do? Maybe the angular weight thingy. I don't know. I think only the angular. I think it's only the angular weight thingy. I'm sorry, I forgot what it's called. I know it's called the angular fish thing. Lure. The lure, yeah. The angular fish is like lure. I think it's the only thing that can like fall down by gravity. You could say the tail fin could as well, but it's like that's probably like the bone for the muscle that you can control that. You can make sure that doesn't fall down. But the lure, that thing's gonna fall down. Oh no, another thing. The like little flappy things from his jacket. Yeah, they're gonna fall down too.
And then satin stitched around the edges. I will tell you though, to get my markings for where these go, I did kind of just eyeball it. I put the skirt on my dress form, and then I just generally marked where those need to go. So it is very eyeballed. But yeah, I'm gonna heat and bond and satin stitch all these little lines.
The communication is I just ramble to myself like all the time. So I don't know what I'm doing. I think it looks good. Oh damn, I just remember I need to like send like a design to like manufacture stuff. Stickers. I'll send it like by like For sure, after the stream.
shape was so
Cause I
complicated.
ain't sending it now. I'm streaming, bro. I'm busy.
On regular felt. And the gist of doing a design like this is you want to go around and do the border first. And my border was these cute little snowflake sequins with two different kinds of pearls. You want to do the border first because it gives you a good gauge of where you can place your larger beads. And I'm using these big, shiny teardrop flatbacks and then some smaller cat eye flatbacks. And when those are in, that gives me a really good gauge of the
Also, I've been thinking I'm gonna like tweak the like auto mod thing. I think I'm gonna turn off auto caps or like spamming caps. Because now I think about it, it's not just annoying. It's just like even I sometimes like chat in chat like using like all caps. It's like I think it's fine. But spamming messages now. I don't want that. No, thank you. If you want me to know something, just send it all in one message, bro. You don't need to send it in like 12 separate messages. There's no need for that.
And that way you can remove them from the costume and actually wash the costume. I am not concerned about washing this skirt at all because at no point will it be touching my skin. Most of the costume won't even really need to be washed because there are so many underlayers. The jubon and the underwear layer are completely washable because remember I serged all those edges, so I don't actually have to worry about washing any of the really complicated parts of this cosplay. Anyway, with the snowflakes sewn on.
Speaking of like not washing cosplay, because Sarah just said that she's not gonna wash her cosplay because it's not gonna touch skin, so there's no need for it. Also, it'd be like very hard to wash it. Also, one question I've always had about cosplay is how do you wash that also detailed cosplay with the so many like biases, so many like beads, so many little days? Like, how do you even wash that? You actually have to like hand wash that. I just found that you didn't even wash it at all. They just like hit it with a Febreze and good enough. I don't know, like kind of disgusting.
Since 2010, we've gotten a new Snow Miku. It's basically an annual Miku winter reskin, but when it comes out, new figures come out, specifically Nendoroids. And Nendoroids are these little posable figures, and you can like change out what they're holding. You can also change their little faces. They come with lots of different accessories. They're very cool. I love them very much. I have 2 links, but I don't have any Miku. So part of it is like a collecting thing, but also every year there's a song that gets released with the Snow Miku. And while the concept of Snow Miku is an official thing, every
Oh,
year
oh,
since
oh, hello. Shiny number 0. Welcome. Right now it's just chill time. I'm just working on my suppressions of the strategy. Right now, I'm like lying on the bed and I'm streaming on my bed because my room's a mess. My tape is full of stuff. I'll clear it out when I clear it out. So right now, I'm lying on my bed, watching the laptop from afar, watching Sarah's basement, and also looking at the animation that I just finished for Sebastian because I feel like it's not good. So when I'm taking like a 5 minute break, looking at from afar, and then like checking to see if like is it that bad or am I just like beating myself over nothing? I feel like it could have been better. I don't know. Just give me 5 minutes, bro. I ain't gonna judge. My room's a mess as well, dude. Yeah, especially after like a con season or whatever. I've been like boothing in conventions since like last month, like anime conventions. And oh, bro, I have had no time to clean up. Even if clean up, it's just like, oh, I'm gonna take this, put it somewhere else. Now the floor is full, and now the table is full. What am I doing? It's okay. Take your time, keep going. I'll feel good. Thank you. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video. Just making a cosplay of the Snow Miku for I think 2023. Really pretty Snow Miku, and I love it. And her cosplay is so good, so pretty. I love it. It's my favorite cosplay. Can you tell?
Drawing your own version of Miku and then a year later getting to hologram and dance on a stage. Like, that is so cool. And Isaki, I hope you're as proud of yourself as we all are of you. Let's finish this thing. This part of the cosplay, which I've been referring to as the actual kimono, I don't actually know how I want to put it together yet because I don't really know how you do a lined kimono, but I went ahead and sewed the velvet panels together just at the shoulders and the back, and this is once again the same pattern for the
By the way, I saw Malaysia in your text. You're Malaysian? Yes, I am. I actually am a local Malaysian. This reminded me of the trip I've done a few years ago in Malaysia. Oh, well, hope your trip was nice. Because right now in Malaysia, did you know we have had several like school-related cases? So pretty much, USA shooting, but Malaysian version. We don't do shootings here. We do rape and murder cases. I don't know what's happening in my country, but same with my schools. But going to like tourist traps like KLCC and all that, things should be fine. Stay away from schools.
And the only things you need for piping are a strip of fabric that has been cut on the bias. That is important. The bias is the 45-degree angle of the fabric. Fabric is a bunch of threads woven together, right? And so one way you've got threads going this way and they don't stretch. And the other way you have threads going that way and they don't stretch. But on the bias, you have threads that are crossing, which gives them a little more stretch and wiggle, which you want for piping because it has to go over the other thing you need for piping, which is some kind of rope or cord or
Get
yarn.
back to work. Hold on, let me sippy some water.
Piping if you don't want to make it. Anyway, I'm going to take my cord and put it in the middle of my bias strip, and then I'm just going to fold it over like that. And then we can take it over to the machine. We're going to get it set up in the machine to where the cord is nice and snug under that little groove. And the big thing here is we want to make sure our needle is in the right spot. But yeah, now that my needle is in the right place, I just have to sew. God, this foot is so much better than the other one I tried to use. Thank you, Lady Rebecca, for your piping insights. All right, so here's my piping. It's whatever. It doesn't look like as nice as the piping you can buy in the store, but it's piping. I think I want to sew the lace onto the piping so that I can sew them both on together. I think I'll still use the piping foot because I want it to be like that, where it's peeking out over the piping. Gonna do another stitch and get that attached. All right, here's how the piping's looking. So at the end, I want the piping in front of the lace. So that's my right side of the piping. So I'm going to put it right sides together with the velvet, and I'm going to bring it all the way around this collar piece. The next thing I'm going to do to this piece is attach the lining all the way around the collar. If you're comfortable with piping, you can just go ahead and pin the lining on there and sew all three of these things together at once. But because I'm not comfortable with piping, I'm going to baste the piping.
Oh dear, well somebody's been timed out. Hold on. I can still read your like message in the chat. That's fine. It was nice indeed. We went to Kuala Lumpur, then traveled to the countryside, and went in the jungle for like a full 24 hours. Was part of the thing. Oh, you're French. To make it fair between us, and it was a trip organized with a big group of teenagers. I was 17, and we traveled. We also went by Singapore. It was so different from my country, but amazing. Yeah, I would imagine like Malaysia, Singapore, like I think just Southeast Asia in general would be very different from like European like French stuff. Maybe it's similar to like the type of countryside that I believe was like European countryside is like more classy. Out here it's like more like rural. Just like more like playing with nature. No, it's okay. Oh yeah, but yeah, I have like a mod thing that like if you like send like a super long message, you get time dot go. I'm sorry, I don't like super long messages. You can send long messages, but just not too long. Like a couple lines long, and that's it. Maybe try to like break them up into like multiple messages. But at the same time, do not spam me messages. Don't send like 10 to 12 messages. I don't like that.
My lining of the same sleeve, wrong side's out. So my seam allowance and my raw edges are just out on this one. And what I want to do now is feed this sleeve to this sleeve. I'm going to stick it in there. where everything lines up, and putting this one in there right sides out inside this one that's wrong sides out means that they are currently right sides together. So now I have this. And because I didn't cut this part, I'm going to go ahead and pin them together around my hand opening because I don't want that to move. And I can't like line them up because I didn't cut it yet because I was too scared. I'll cut it off once the stitch is in there. And once I know it looks good. Because I have extra lining fabric, but I beaded these sleeves already, so I don't want to mess them up.
Well, I live in French countryside and we have field forest. It was not in a Malicious countryside. Ah, I think it has something to do because we have, as you guys will have like oak or pine, like forest, right? We have rainforest, so it's wet, it's moist, and there's mud everywhere. There are insects, there are always animals there. So yeah, also it rains here a lot, so our countryside is like very moist, very mud. Also another thing that will like make it like different. Malaysia is a tiny country. Like I think France. I think France is like has like a pretty huge like land. So even if it's like a countryside and all that, the fields would be like super huge. I was just like, it's like kind of compact. Even if there are like fields and stuff, it will probably be like paddy rice fields. Tongue twisters. You've been in France? Oh no, I have not been in France. I think the farthest I traveled is still in Southeast Asia. I think only until Vietnam. I have never been outside Southeast Asia before. I used to have a passport, and I'm pretty sure it has already expired. If I want to like travel again, I need to renew that thing. But I have no plans to renew it right now.
That's the question. Okay, I know what I need to do. I need to get this out of here, and then this part. Oh, okay, okay, okay. What? This needs to go inside out. That's what it is. This needs to go inside out. Where's the hole? Okay, 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 okay. What is happening here? This should work, maybe? I don't understand. No, that's not right. Maybe if I pull this part out, that's not supposed to be inside out. Is this even possible to have this work? Is my spatial reasoning wrong? I think I f***ed up. I don't think I can do both of those with it turned inside out like that. I can do one of them like that. Or maybe I can get it in there? No, like cause like this needs to go in here, and I can't get it to do that. I have a plan. Instead of unpicking this seam, I'm gonna unpick the top of the sleeve because I can re-seam that, but something's gotta get unpicked because this didn't work. Will you work now? No? I think I need to unpick the bottom too. I don't want to redo those because if I redo them, I risk ripping or cutting something on the actual sleeve, and I don't want to do that because it's cotton, which means it's delicate, and this is poly cotton, which means it's delicate. Well, I ripped it anyway. Wow. It's okay. It's on the back. I'm gonna fix the rip first. This is where we're at. Told you the cotton was delicate. All right. This is why you use a seam ripper. You don't just rip stuff. Now there's a fucking extra seam in there. It's fine. We'll cover it up with rhinestones. You know, I had hoped that this would one day be a competition piece, but it's not anymore.
Oh hey, Autumn, wait, did Autumn do something again?
Yeah, I think I can. Okay.
Oh.
Why? It looks like I have
Yeah, I have an auto mode. It's a bit annoying for some people. I like it. Maybe in the future I'll like be more lenient and I have so many rules. But for now, it's like, I'm just gonna leave it as is. Oh, I'm too lazy to change it.
So now we're back to this, but this one isn't together. So what I should be able to do now is actually turn this inside out. So if I take this.
Speaking of chat things, I think I need to like put like the proper rules in the chat. I think right in the chat it's like, oh, have fun. I don't think I have proper rules. I'll get to that when I get to that.
Right? And we've got our clean openings that go under the arm, right? But then the armhole is still open. I didn't want to do a top stitch, but I guess I have to. I'm very sad about this rip. I'm trying not to be sad about it, and it is on the back, but it's still just like, of course, I spend all this f***ing time working on these f***ing sleeves, and I f*** them up because I'm impatient. I think what I'm gonna do is fold the edges over, get them nice and pressed so they stay folded like that, and then do a very small edge stitch on the very edge of that fold to secure them together, and that'll be the sleeves. After a perilous journey of me being dumb, we have a sleeve. Still haven't pressed it, so these are gonna look bad right now, but there's a sleeve. The rip is over here, right there. You probably can't even see it, but I know it's there and I'm stupid. So yeah, now I gotta go through all of that again for the other sleeve, but then we can get to how these actually attach to the costume. Today is going to be victory day because we're gonna get these sleeves onto this bodice. So I went ahead and I basted the flutter sleeve to the long sleeve, and I did it because I'm going to attach, oh, I did a dumb. I basted all of the layers together, but what I wanted was to baste all of the layers except for the lining. So now I have to unpick this and do it again. But I need the lining not in there because I want to do something fancy with the lining so that it's clean on the inside, which is not necessary. It's a fancy design, and it deserves to be fancily made. Okay, I fixed it. This is what I wanted. So the flutter sleeve and the actual outside of the long sleeve are attached together, but the lining is still free. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna get my bodice, and I also wanna get this lining out of the way. And I need to make sure I'm doing the right sleeve on the right side. I just wait for my screensaver to show me which side is the sun. This side. This side is the sun. I'm just gonna do this exactly the same way I did it on the Juban. I have everything laid out flat.
I'll be logging and listening to the stream while I'll gaming, enjoy all that knowledge and every once in a while. That's fine, bro. But this is like a really like chill stream. I mean, heck, right now I'm watching somebody's video while drawing. That's how chill it is. Yeah, rules and setting isn't primordial, but definitely something you can't ignore for the longest time. You do that when you feel like doing it. Yep, I'm gonna do it when I do like it. Because I do plan to like make streaming like a more serious thing. But for now, I'm just gonna let it like just like exist. And if something like bad happens, okay, then I'll try and take it seriously. If for now, it's like things are still fine.
Run into a similar situation that I had with the sleeves where I bagline it and then find out that that is not how physics work. Say physics? Someone in STEM, please tell me what scientific concept turning something inside out is. Anyway, so now I'm playing a game called Will It Bagline. This is the front of the bodice, right? So here's my lace and stuff. Here's the lining. It's inside out. If I line this up and I do a stitch right here, will it bagline? I feel like, and this is the science of physics moving through feelings, I feel like if there's a stitch here, I might be able to pull it inside out. But I'm gonna do a really long straight stitch and no back stitches so that if it doesn't work, I can pull it out immediately. And we're gonna play Will It Bagline? Okay, let's find out. Will it? Okay, maybe if I just do this. It worked! Wow. Okay, that's a win. Okay, so I did okay. This time I'm gonna do a regular length stitch with back stitches because we already proved that it can bagline. So now that will just be open. And we'll have to secure them at the bottom here, but I gotta do the backs first, so I gotta do that. Okay, the backs might be a little more challenging because they're attached together, but I have faith in myself, so I need to flip this like that, so it's inside out, get everything out of the damn way. But how do I pull this part inside out? I don't know if this one will bagline. Baglining, by the way, is called baglining because you're essentially, it's not really a bag, right? It's in the shape of a garment, but you end up kind of creating a bag. That's why it's called that. You can also say bagged out. Anyway, I'm gonna sew these and see if this one works. Moment of truth. Will it bagline? I think it will. I think if I just do this, pull all of this through, go through, and flip all that over. Oh, it baglined. Oh, we did it. Okay. Look at that. Now we get a nice clean edge right there. All right, so then, to finish this off, the victory lap. This should be easy. Okay, this part needs to close with this part. Here's the front. I'm going to give this seam allowance a little notch so that it can flip this way. I'm going to give this seam allowance a little notch so it can flip up. I'm going to take these, I'm going to put them together, and I'm just going to sew that up and make sure none of these are in the way. So now, that's where that seam is. Lining is still not closed, but here's what the side looks like. These are not pressed, so they're going to look a mess. And this lining is still free, so it's going to be flopping everywhere. But it's closed, and then it's open with a lining, and then it opens up into the sleeve, and the sleeve linings are still not attached. The final step to this, to finish off the lining, I'm just going to hand sew it. I'm going to hand sew that bottom part of the lining and hand sew where the shoulder comes together. And then the only thing left will be the bottom still being open. And to finish off the bottom, I'm gonna do it the way I finished off the handholes on the sleeves. Hey, I haven't done the bottom yet, but I wanted to try it on, so I also put on a little belt. But wake up, world! We still got a while to go before this is done, but having this piece feels awesome. Okay, fluffy stole thing. The pattern for this is literally just a random shape that I drafted on the dress form. It looks like this, and I have cut this pattern out of one piece of regular cotton and one piece of this fabric that I can only describe as 90s fuzzy sweater material. But this isn't going to be the actual outside of the fluffy stole. No, this is the part where I show you how much I hate myself. My original plan for all of the fluffy stuff on this cosplay was to hand make hundreds and hundreds of pom-pom balls. And I quickly realized that while I hate myself enough to make this many of them, I did not hate myself enough to make enough for the skirt, but I did make enough for this part, which I think will make this a really pretty and special and fluffy piece. I would really love to one day actually have the patience to cover the entire skirt in handmade pom-pom balls, but I don't have that right now. What I do have is like 50 of them, and I think I have enough to cover it. So basically all I'm gonna do is take my 90s sweater material and put it right sides together with the cotton. I'm gonna sew them right sides together, but I'm only gonna sew them right sides together around the outside, because what that'll let me do is open it up so that I can just sew the pom-pom balls by hand, so that then when all the pom-pom balls are on it, I can flip this back over and hand sew the inside together, which is obviously also going to take a while. This whole thing is going to take a while. And it also took forever to make these. You want to know how I made these? It's probably exactly what you think. It's the old wrap the yarn around your hand a bunch of times. I found for a really nice fluffy pom-pom, if you wrap it around your hand like 60 times, it comes out nice and fluffy. The other thing I did, which is not a standard pom-pom thing, instead of tying off the loops with a piece of yarn, I used zip ties. And it worked really well, especially for these, for what I'm about to do next. Because to take them from your regular old second grade craft to an actual cute little pom-pom, I had to do the furry thing and brush all the yarn out with a pet brush. And that's what made this take forever. Yeah, I've already made a bunch. So now I just gotta sew them on to my 90s sweater fabric and then sew up the bottom. And I ended up just hand sewing this onto the blue kimono, and then I did two little ties
Let's do that.
over. But with that done, it's time for the OB that is not a traditional OB at all. So OBs are typically just like really long, very stiffened strips of fabric that get tied around the waist, and they usually have really big
I know the reason for that.
there's lots of different kind of bows that they can be tied into, and I would have no hope of knowing how to tie an OB bow like that. But also, most of the time it seems like you need somebody else to do it to you. So I would also have to teach you how to tie this very specific Miku bow out of a long of stiffened fabric, and that's just not going to happen. The bow on this one is going to need to be done in the style that I usually do, loop bow style that I learned from Cosmic Cotier, which is a Sailor Moon focused cosplay group that has lots of different tutorials. I'll link them in the description, but I make my bows exactly how they do. And that bow on the back is going to have to be a Cosmic Cotier Sailor Moon style bow. The belt part though, I'm so tempted to
What happened? Oh no, I just finished the animation.
Corsetry brain says to do.
Yeah, that is like colored and stuff. I think it's not that bad.
Just going with very stiff fabric.
So that's progress done. Now I'm gonna take that breaking it. Yeah, break.
Stretch velvet. One of the worst.
What did I write?
Fabrics you
I
can
just
even
want to cheese crescent.
is nothing like the blue velvet I've been using. This velvet is slippery. It has no structure to it. It makes a beautiful drape for a cape. It's got spike to it. And it's probably a really bad idea to be using it for a very structured piece, but I'm doing it anyway because I liked this color. There's a couple things that I needed to do to all of this velvet before I could get started working on the obi. And a lot of that has to do with how many layers are going into the obi. So the backmost layer is a lining of just the auxiliary third.
How far am I into the video? Oh, almost done.
Is leftover fabric from the Sakizo I did a couple months ago. Then I've got a structural layer of duck canvas, which is a pretty stiff fabric, but it's not.
Also, in case you're wondering, no, this is not my first time watching this video. This is probably my doesn't time watching it. I don't know. I've watched it so many dang times. Alright, we're watching how we do.
On top of that layer, we've got the actual stretch.
Progress day, actually, yes. And then I'm gonna have to do like the seeing animation, but that's just like a reskin of this one. I just like retreat it, do a little bit of tweak, and then it's done, and I can move on to other stuff. What else have I not done? We can try that right now.
Throughout the piece. Normally, you can just flatline stuff by sewing around the edges of it. Well, stretch velvet is so slippery that
the ceiling one I have not done.
Still probably look really bad.
I haven't done this one. I haven't done this one. Tripping. Well, I haven't done tripping animation yet. And then the like breathing animation. Okay.
Stretch velvet on this side, and before it gets sewed to the lining, this blue stripe needs to go on it. And I don't know if this is a good idea to do with this particular part, but I have also gone ahead and put a walking foot on my machine. If you're working with any kind of slippery fabric, a walking foot is going to be your friend because it essentially has another pair of feed dogs on the foot itself. And if you don't know what the feed dogs are, they're the little grippy guys that are under the foot.
No, you're not supposed to see that.
So with a walking foot on, you have grippy guys on the bottom, you have grippy guys on top, and they
that's a thing for like much idea. That's your design. Just looking at that again, damn, it looks like a child. And then since it had to join in the beginning, I'm not comfortable with that. I'll show you that version. I tried to make it seem like not like a child. Hopefully that you look like a child. I do not want to go to jail.
The velvet won't get weird when I do that, so that when I turn it right sides out, it looks beautiful. It might not. Lining's on, let's see if it got weird. It needs to be pressed still, but the stretch velvet doesn't look super weird, which is a win. Wow. Okay, so the closure for this, I have a lot of explaining to do. The goal I have for the entire costume is that I can put the whole thing on by myself, but I also want a reasonable amount of adjustability. I don't want to just throw a zipper onto this and call it a day. And the idea for this closure came from a couple years ago. A friend of mine, Melanie, who you should go follow on Twitch, she has cosplays of both of the stepsisters from Cinderella, and she wanted me to be Anastasia with her one year at DragonCon. And those dresses are both like professionally made recreations of the Disney park dresses, but the way they have in the back, like a stretchy panel that zips up, and then on the stretchy panel already is your laces. So then you can tighten your laces. And so that closure has been living rent-free in my mind for years, and I've never actually tried to do one. And this is my design. It's not super clean. It is what it is. But I think it will function.
I'm sorry for the like jiggly noises. I'm not looking for Android. Android that has all the emojis. Where is it?
This was the only
Where is the pen drive?
just got a white spandex lining. But
That's not a pen drive.
the stretchy part. It is just the stretch velvet with white spandex on the back. They're bagged out, and then they are zigzag
Where the fuck did I put it?
two lacing panels. And if you don't know how to make a little closing lacing panel like this, check out my corset video. I show you exactly how to do it. The big thing here is that on one of the
I'll find it when I find it. I don't have it. I'm waiting you.
So this part can go
Oh, I will.
on one side of the belt, and then this part goes on the other side of the belt. So this whole part zips together, and it's stretchy.
It doesn't matter if I can't find the pen drive. I already uploaded like the alpha thing online. So I could just download that and I'll work on that one until they update it. So that's a big deal. But what am I still find the pen drive? Are you munching? Yes, I am munching. Munching on bread. Day old bread, yum yum. Day old bread from the bakery.
So I stitched the zipper down by machine on this side, but then I ended up just hand sewing the back of it. Neither side is super clean or professional, but I don't care. This is what we got. I went ahead and put some laces in there, so what I should be able to do... Okay.
I have a pen drive. What idea?
My zipper. Okay, take two. I should be able to take this, do up the zipper. That feels like it fits a lot better. And then... Haha! That works. And I can probably do that behind my back, too. So woo! A piece I can put on by myself that also cinches so that it fits correctly, it's not gonna move, and it is adjustable for if my body changes at all. Next time I try this, I'll try to find a way to make it a little cleaner, but I didn't super plan to do it like this. I had no idea how I was gonna close the obi, but I like it. It's cool. Anyway, this needs bows now. And oh boy, are these some bows. So, still with the stretch velvet, so I did need to pad stitch these to their structural layers, but these bow loops actually have two different pieces of structure. If you've not seen me do a loop bow before, these bows start like this. Each side of the bow has two pieces like this that get sewn together, and then they fold over and they make a loop. So that's half. So on this side, I have the Pellon 808 craft fused to some plain white cotton because I didn't want to fuse it to the stretch velvet. And then the stretch velvet has been pad stitched to that layer of interfacing and cotton. That's my inside layer. And then for my outside layer, I have pad stitched this piece of stretch velvet that's going to be the outside to a piece of green felt that is left over from the Saki Sew project. What I need to do now is put them right sides together, run a stitch along two sides, leaving what will be the middle of the bow open, and then I can pull those right sides out, press them, fold them into their bow shape, and what is unfortunate is I just realized the center of this bow
what the heck is that? It's balls? Wait.
But I don't have any more, except for...
What balls? What did I miss? Wait, what?
Together, and it's stretchy, so I can do it by myself.
Hold on, I'm trying to like go through my memory of watching the video 100 times.
What a concept!
What balls?
Good, but there's a giant bow that goes in the back.
Oh, you mean bow, like a ribbon?
Experimental with this one, and I think all I'm gonna do.
No, it's not balls. It's bow.
Sew them on there, and then install the zipper on the other side, and we'll see if that looks good. But also, I still need to take out all of my pad stitching, so I need to rip all that out too. So I stitched the zipper down by machine on this side, but then I ended up just hand sewing the back of it. Neither side is super clean or professional, but I don't care. This is what we got. I went ahead and put some laces in there, so what I should be able to do... Okay, well... It is too big, so I need to move my zipper. Okay, take two. I should be able to take this, do up the zipper. That feels like it fits a lot better. And then, haha, that works. And I can probably do that behind my back too. So woo, a piece I can put on by myself that also cinches so that it fits correctly. It's adjustable for if my body changes.
I have a better idea.
I'll try to find a way to make it a little cleaner, but I didn't super plan to do it like this. I had no idea how I was gonna close the obi, but I like it. It's cool. Anyway, this needs bows now. And oh boy, are these some bows. So, still with the stretch velvet, so I did need to pad stitch these to their structural layers, but these bow loops actually have two different pieces of structure. If you've not seen me do a loop bow before, these bows start each side of the bow has two pieces like this that get sewn together and then they fold over and they make a loop. So that's half the bow. So on this side, I have the Pellon 808 craft fused to some plain white cotton because I didn't want to fuse it to the stretch velvet. And then the stretch velvet has been pad stitched to that layer of interfacing and cotton.
I wonder what real velvet that feels like. Because I do have like velvet and stuff in hospital, but I think there's like synthetic velvet. So it feels very like stiff. Apparently real velvet's supposed to be stretchy. I wonder how stretchy. How's the velvet, bro? How stretchy is actual velvet?
And then I can pull those right sides out, press them, fold them into their bow shape. And what is unfortunate is I just realized the center of this bow is supposed to be the stretch velvet, but I don't have any more, except for this piece that I just cut off the belt. So I'm gonna unpick the blue part of this and use this as my bow loop for my back bow. But yeah, once I have the loops ready, they need to be hand sewn together, and then the loop needs to be hand sewn on. The issue with these bows that I'm having is the tails, because I've chosen some really weird fabrics for this. Here's the start of one of the tails, right? The bow tails are supposed to have a sun and a moon on them, and to add to all of my problems, I decided to do that in this really weird reflective gold vinyl. I can kind of press it. I will be able to press the edges, but I can't do my usual heat and bond on the back to attach them. And I did some tests, and I think I'm gonna tacky glue the gold stuff onto the stretch velvet and then attach it permanently with a top stitch in yellow thread, not gold thread, because gold thread is a bitch and a half. If I'm
no, check something. I'm pretty sure.
I'm gonna bead around them, so this might take me a couple
This thing. I have worked on this like a tiny bit, right?
Basically the same except smaller. The only difference is the tails on the front bow are a little bit of a different shape.
Oh no, I've already finished lining.
This is why
I just need the color.
Is a bitch. I'm gonna have to unpick this and reseam it because I didn't pin it, I didn't pad stitch it, I didn't do anything, and it just went completely off where I wanted it to go. It's stretch velvet, and if you don't do anything, it will you. I also have like several other bows to make that are all being made exactly the same way, so you don't need to see me make all of those. But oh my god, more bows. But with the
no balls
bows on it, it's time to finally once again play Sock God. Katie has decided that the table is her emotional support table, so she's just gonna be here. But yeah, I don't think you could physically make these socks stay up if you did not play Sock God and make them tights. If my giant kitty would move, here's my pattern. I'll throw up a video I did last year on how you make a pattern like this for your own leg, but you could really just grab any kind of leggings pattern and split it up. Mine is split up in 3 pieces at a time. Normally what I do is
you might sound a bit loud.
and then I have the rest of a legging pattern being made out of power stitch.
There you go.
It's a really sheer, really stretchy fabric. It comes in lots of skin tones, and it's a lot easier to work with than trying to just make tights and sew them onto nylon.
What is it? Why is it doing like that? It looks good, but why are you doing this again? I did this. Everything. I try to get for like shooting me every time I try to flash them. Why can't I flash Sebastian in peace? Come on, just a little light.
It ends up being like too stretchy.
But so pretty much I plan there to be like 2 pinch animations in the shimmeji. So there's one where you drag him from his like antenna lure thing, then another where you drag him from his tail fin. Because I feel like that would be so funny. Drag him from the tail fin, drag him from like the lure, bully him.
But I've also found that I don't really like the way spandex feels. Like it kind of feels gross on your skin. I don't know. So this time I went with a cotton jersey. So it's got stretch to it. It's not four-way stretch. So four-way stretch means it can stretch this way and that way. Spandex can do that. This one only stretches one way. And if you have a fabric that only stretches one way, make sure you cut it where the stretch is going around your body.
Or torturing them like that.
Completely defeated the purpose of
It gives me humor. It makes me laugh. Ha ha. It gives me life. I don't know, bro. Bullying Sebastian is just the best thing ever. What is he gonna do? Shoot me with shotgun? Try harder.
There are a couple stitches you can use though. You can use a zigzag stitch or a lightning stitch, and a lightning stitch is sometimes called a stretch stitch. Some machines will have specific stretch stitches that are so small that they mimic the look of a straight stitch. On my non-computerized machine, my Crafter, I have a regular zigzag stitch and a lightning stitch, and I actually just decided to go with the regular zigzag stitch to do the actual scallop part. Doing the scallops works pretty much the same as doing any other scallops. Because these are leggings, I can't line the entire sock. That would be really weird.
I didn't know they were just like, Automat, like, go like, at you again. What did Automat say?
I basically made
Because it didn't show up in chat, so I don't know.
the first time I ever played Sock God was for Godoka, who has scalloped socks. And I was like, how did I do this? How did I do scallops and then also get them onto the panel? I am lucky that these never really snapped off, because what I ended up doing, it looks like, is
I'm getting Automat's nerves.
to do the scallops. I know I did a facing for the scallops, and a facing is a small piece of lining at the edge of a garment. So it's not a lining that goes all the way through the sock. It's a lining that's just at the edge. And then I just top stitched the power mesh under the scallops. Anyway, to make my scallops, I'm going to take my facing piece and put it right on the top of my sock. And then I'm going to grab my pattern.
Live another day, Sebastian.
The scallops onto the facing piece. I'm going to go over to the machine, and making sure I have a ballpoint needle on the machine. You need a ballpoint needle for stretch, because stretch fabrics have like elasticy stuff in them. And if you have a sharp needle, the needle can catch onto those sharp threads and like pull them through, and that messes up with the way the bobbin winds around the other thread. So you end up skipping stitches. Your machine might just stop stitching entirely, but a ballpoint needle has like a rounded point, so it goes around those stretchy fibers instead of piercing through them. I am going to use a regular zigzag stitch to do this, but I'm going to make it really narrow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the machine to zigzag stitch, and then I'm going to lower my stitch width down pretty far. And then you want to have a relatively normal, if not a little bit low, stitch length, so that the stitches are tight enough that you get a nice curve. And then you just do the scallops like you would normally, just following the line that you already put in there. With that stitch in, I'm going to flip everything back over. I'm going to get it nice and pressed so that it looks good. It's a little hard to get stretch scallops to look good for obvious reasons, but if you give them a good press, you'll have a little more hope. But when those scallops are done, I'm going to take my power mesh piece, I'm going to put it just under it. We're putting it just on top of it. There's no right sides to the other. I guess it's wrong side to right side, and I'm going to top stitch them in, but I'm not going to top stitch them with a straight stitch. I'm actually going to go over to my FOF, because it's a quilting machine, and it just does stuff like this a little more accurately than a non-computerized machine. And I'm going to use its stretch stitch because it's so tiny and so perfect that it looks almost identical to a regular straight stitch. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with my Garuka tights to these. I'm going to trim down the facing and the power mesh to be like a ½ inch away from the scallops. I'm going to do it with my pinking shears too. And that isn't to keep it from fraying, because neither of these fabrics really fray. A lot of stretch fabrics just don't fray. The reason I'm doing it with the pinking shears is because when it's pinked like that, it sort of helps blend that edge into looking like, I don't know, more natural. Instead of seeing like a super hard edge, it kind of feathers it a little bit. Here's how they look on the front. So now I just got to put this guy right sides together with that guy, sew that up with a zigzag stitch, and we'll be ready to put them together. And how do they go together? You put your crotch seam in, and you stop before the leg. You put your butt seam in, and you also stop before you get to the leg. You make it go spread eagle, and now you actually sew up the leg, and you turn it right sides out, and add a waistband. Anyway, those are my tights. let's move on to the bonnet. I love bonnets, but this one has like 500 colors and 600 scallops. I patterned this and cut the pieces out for it like a month ago. So yesterday I grabbed all the pieces I cut and I was just like, how did I want to do this? But luckily, I wrote myself notes on my own pattern. Here's the pattern. I've got myself a guide for the back, and then I have all these little pieces cut out. And what I needed to do was cut 2 pieces per each of these little pieces of their corresponding fabric. Go ahead and get their scallops in there, turn them inside out and press them flat. You already know how I do scallops. So what I have ready is a bunch of little already scalloped bits in those patterns. Got my little sun piece, pink scallop piece, blue scallop piece, 2 pieces of the dark blue like the pattern says. I have my insidey part, which is another one of those annoying pieces that has little scallops too, which came out kind of terrible, and it honestly just looks like a ditto. But yeah, that's my inside bit. So all I need to do now is pick one of my blue sides, say, okay, that's the front. Get the pink one that goes on the front, put that on there, and then top stitch that onto this blue piece. And I need to take the other one. This one's the back now. I need to get all of these little pieces lined up onto that and top stitch all of those on there. When I have these top stitched onto this piece, what I can do is take both of them, put them right sides together, do the scallops around the blue pieces, turn that right sides out, and then cut this pattern out of interfacing. This is the full size of the bonnet, and I'm just going to shove the interfacing in there. And here's my finished bonnet. I ended up doing bias tape on the bottom here, did a machine stitch on this side, flipped it over, did a hand stitch here, hand stitched the ruffle on.
The lesson's too long.
Bias tape, I've got 2 little parachute clips, and I have the corresponding parachute clips, and these will need to be sewn onto the wig somewhere. I don't know where on the wig yet, but let me show you it on me. Wow, bonnet! It's super cute. I haven't gotten to see the back yet, but you can see it. But now that this is done, I have to tackle the thing I have been avoiding this entire time. A thing I hate making so much and wearing so much that oftentimes when a character has them, I just don't do them. It's time.
And reckon you're, that's my brother. Context, my brother has autism.
By saying, I am not the person you should listen to when it comes to gloves. I have made all of 1 pair of gloves, meaning I have made 2 gloves, and they didn't come out very good.
Don't ask me why he's making those noises. Just reasons.
You watching me suffer. So these are the gloves. My first test was to see if I could do them in the upholstery velvet that the rest of the blue of the cosplay is made of, and it didn't go well. They look bad. They feel bad.
That's fine.
And I did not get the pattern right at all. So the last time I made gloves, and to make this one, I used a free glove pattern that I found. Funnily enough, when I find a lot of those, I love that the person that made this easy to understand glove pattern gave up on using it themselves. And I tried to watch a couple videos how you pattern your own glove, and they were so boring and so many numbers that I wrapped my frickin' hand in tape. I put on a nitrate glove and I wrapped my hand in tape, and I got my own glove pattern. Now, it's not like an actual glove pattern should be in any sense, but I did also cut gussets because I want gussets. They do make the glove fit better. The other thing is, with a non-stretch fabric, you really end up with gloves that just look like leather gloves. And no matter what you do with leather gloves, they just look like serial killer gloves. And I'm trying to get my hands to look like Snow Miku Johnny Weir moment and not Wendigoon's eventual serial killer arc moment. So I'm also not going to use the upholstery velvet at all. And I called a Hail Mary and I ordered some stretch velvet. Yes, I'm using a stretch fabric now, but I'm still going to use gussets because they still make the glove fit better. Will these fit perfectly? I don't know, but I already started one of them, and it's still not great. But let me tell you, it feels like it's gonna fit. And this is, once again, the science of physics through feelings. If you have ever seen an actual glove pattern before, you're probably like, what is that, Sarah? Here's the front and the back. Here's the gussets. The gussets look normal, at least. And here's the thumb. The thumb looks pretty dang weird. But I already cut them out of my stretch velvet, so if you have no idea what a gusset is, I'll show you on this one that's already like half done. So the gusset is the part that goes in between your fingers. These, when they're on gloves, they go by a couple names. In fact, in my fork video, I was told that they are actually called forks. But I feel like gusset makes more literal sense. A gusset is like a little piece of a pattern that helps you go around a curve, and that's what this is doing. It's going around the curve of your fingers. So each one starts at the tip of a finger, goes through the crotch of your finger, and then goes to the other side of the other finger. And what I usually do is I go through and I will sew my gussets in between each finger and do all three of them on one side, and then I'll close it up, and then I'll do all three gussets on the other side. So what you end up with is fingies. The issue is sewing teeny tiny little pieces like this is really difficult, which is why it is advantageous to hand sew gloves. I don't find that sewing gussets on by machine is that hard.
Hi, back.
What I find
Sorry
really
about
hard
it.
is
Something
getting
happened.
the tips of the fingers right.
Back to
I don't
separation.
know how to do that by machine. And
Oh,
I
see,
think
brother,
I'm
I got two brothers in the middle one. Okay, guess what happened to? I know this dude. Actually, yes.
going in between.
Yes, I'm not even the middle child or anything. I'm the youngest.
Now what I do
Eh.
is this stuff all comes back
Eh,
off,
oh well.
and you can
Life
kind of
moves on.
see
C'est la
where
vie.
I'm going with this, in that now this edge gets connected to this gusset. This finger gets sewn to this gusset on this side. So I'm gonna get everything out of the way and sew that up on there. And then once that's on there, you do it to the other side, so you end up with a full finger. It's just a matter of pushing everything else out of the way so that I can feed this through the machine and not catch any of those other layers. I once had a friend who wanted to get into competing. When she was asking what she needed to make for the cosplay, in a panic, she was just like, "Do I need to make my own gloves?" The short answer is no, but the longer answer is that gloves are one of the hardest things to sew, and they're one of the easiest things to mess up. And one of the biggest things with competing is, how do you stand out amongst all of these other amazing cosplays? And if you walk into a judging room with really well-made, impeccably patterned and tailored gloves, not these gloves, but if you walk into a judging room with an impeccable pair of gusseted leather gloves, oh, you're getting something. And you still have to do it well, though. That's the problem. I don't see myself competing in Snowmiku anytime soon, because, like, I'm skipping Winter Cosplay. Is it Winter Cosplay Champion? Yeah, it's Winter Cosplay Championship now. It used to be Crown. I didn't want to do that this year because I won a title last year. And I'm kind of a believer in, like, you gotta, like, take a little break, you know, let other people shine. And, like, I would consider, like, competing 2024.
Who the heck?
Some other people have their moment in the sun, not take up that spot. And I'm also not saying that as, like, oh, I would definitely win. No, it's more so like only so many people get into.
Wait, was that in the? Oh no, it just showed up in the stream. Oh no. Well, sorry, let me know people know you're drawing right now.
Say I would get in and win. I am cocky enough to say I would get in. Last gusset's giving me trouble. Okay, fam, come on, get out of the way.
I'm beginning to find out where to like turn off that like Discord like overlay thing. It is annoying.
I will be done with these.
I'm okay with giving a notification that somebody sent me a message on Discord, but like notification like that, I don't need to know.
To finish these up, I am just going to hand sew on my thumb and hand sew the tops of these fingers to make them actually fit my fingers. Some of them are too long. All right, these are done. They are bad. This thumb came out okay. This thumb I did by hand. This thumb I did on the machine, and I kind of got the placement wrong. I've kind of got a bump, and I don't feel like unpicking that and doing it again. So we're going with these. They're close enough to what they're supposed to be, and you know what? They're on my body, and that is fine. Funnily enough, this marks the end of creating the actual cosplay part. Not the wig. The wig isn't over yet. Not the prop. The prop isn't over yet. And those will be other videos. But these were the last piece of the cosplay. serendipity kind of struck here in that right when I finished these, there was a knock at the door, and at the door was my birthday present from Joe. Yes, my birthday was in July, and it didn't come until November. It's November now, by the way, but this was my birthday present from Joe. I asked her, so I knew she was coming, but I've waited several months for her to come.
Which is loading.
Now she's here, and she's so perfect and cute.
We're back.
And would have been a great thing to have as a reference for making the cosplay.
Yeah, I think it's mine.
To see me when she knew
It does that sometimes, but it should be fine because I have like a really fast unlimited Wi-Fi.
any cosplay.
It shouldn't be a problem.
Troubleshooting!
Maybe I need
And by that I
more
mean
powerful
finding
Wi-Fi.
the
As of my
right
current Wi-Fi isn't powerful
and make
enough.
sure it all works together
Sticky
and
Twitch.
doesn't fall off my body. And what better way to stress test the cosplay than to do a dance test? One thing that the dance test taught me was that my tights don't fit. They are too small and they ripped, and my bloomers were too big and would not stop falling down. But other than that, you know what? It feels special. And this is the science of feeling, moving through feelings now. But I do think I got that one little ounce of special, important energy I was looking for. And I absolutely cannot wait to see this with the wig on. But you'll have to tune in next week to see that, or if you're in the future, you get to see it now. Well, that's how I did all the garments, but if you want to see the absolute odyssey that was making the wig for this, make sure you're subscribed or somewhere, because it
There you go.
This wig is 4 feet tall and weighs like 20 pounds. I thought it was going to be impossible, but I made it, and it can dance. When I started this, I didn't know how I was going to do all the colors. I didn't know how to make it swing. I didn't even know how to keep it on my head. But after months of trial and error, I figured it out. It took blood, sweat, and tears. So much sweat that I should probably use some products from today's sponsor, Scentbird! I don't know about you, but I love to smell stuff. If I am out anywhere and they have perfume,
Only the leg.
I never usually buy them because they're usually really expensive.
They never been watching mainstream at some stuff. Yeah.
This month they sent me, and I'm
Oh
very sorry for
god.
the French language. It's called Jardins de Misfa, and it's by Une Nuit Nomade. But this smell.
Since you're French, read her attempt at reading French. Was that good?
Dates and roses and almonds and saffron. I didn't realize how much I loved almond smell, but it's so unique. It's not like anything I've ever smelled before, and I'm just obsessed with it. The tragedy, though, is the full-size bottle of this is like $120, but like Scentbird gives you a pretty generous amount, and this much of $120 perfume is a good deal. I also got Amber Molecule and Peony Noble, and if you've ever been to the Georgia Renaissance Festival and you've been into the herb shop that's in the back, Amber Molecule smells exactly like that herb shop. It's giving witchy, it's giving I live in the forest and I know all the squirrels and they tell me where all the good mushrooms are. It's giving that. But if you want an even better deal, you can use my code SPACEMAN55 to get 55% off your first order of Scentbird, and that's just over $7 to smell very fancy. So check out that link in the description while we all go back in time.
No, I wouldn't use French with people that doesn't speak it, even though you said Beach come your girl. No, that's fine, bro. That's understandable.
How this could work to me, and the gist of it was it's gonna be heavy. So I tinkered for an with this. Okay, I have a lot to explain. This is my prototype. I'll get to all the wooden stuff in a second, but first I want to show you the base. What's going on here is I have done some very strange things to this little wig cap. Right away, you can see we have a good hold on there, but all of this comes right off. And as you probably can already tell, I installed magnets into this wig cap. I actually just installed a band of grosgrain ribbon into this wig cap and then stuck it in between the netting of the wig cap. And there's one up here in the front and one back here and two right here. But for a prototype, this is working pretty well. And so then what this magnetizes to is this here is hanger wire, and it's galvanized steel wire, so it just snaps right on to the wig head. Ignore this side for now. All of the wood stuff is bolted into the hanger wire. So essentially, this first part is
Oh, what spooky games you playing?
my head. This stuff
Is it like an actual like Halloween game, or is it like just any spooky game? Because I do know there's a game that's available only in October. That one, like pumpkin carving game.
So this first pivot point can swing back and forth. This strut comes out, right? And then it goes down to this strut, which is just bolted in, but it's put this way, right? So that it can move back and forth, but not side to side, so that it can't come down into my body. Basically, that's the overview of the prototype, okay? This might end up changing. Before I make the other one, I need to make sure this is gonna work. So what I gotta do now is make the actual pigtail sock. So now I gotta explain that to you, because I've done a whole lot for that too. The basic explanation of how I wanna do this is I basically wanna make two felt socks that the hair is going to get glued onto. But I really wanted this felt base to be patterned in a really specific way. The artist that created this Miku design actually released a reference sheet of just the pigtails. And in it, you can see that there are two like wing pieces that come over the top, but the inside of the pigtail is just swirling all the way around. So I needed to create a felt base based on that inner pigtail part, because the wing pieces could just be their own pieces. But the big thing is I wanted the felt to be the same color as the fiber that goes on top of it so that you can't see the felt through it. But that means that the seams of the felt need to be going in a spiral. And how the hell do you pattern that? Well, when in doubt, do as the furries do. I did a tape pattern. What this is a quarter scale pigtail made out of tin foil and wire and covered in foam clay. And then I covered the whole thing in tape, and I did as best as I could, and I drew all of those swirling lines to create one of the most complicated patterns I have ever made for myself. And the reason why this is pinned back onto its base is because after I cut it off, I was still so incredibly confused by it that I had to pin it back on to know where anything went. But once I had it, I took all the tape off and I digitized it, and then I scaled it to half scale. So this was quarter scale, and this is my half scale pigtail. The seams swirl around the pigtail. I love the shape of it. So now what I have done is I have cut out my full scale pieces out of felt, and they are giant and terrifying, but they're gonna make a giant terrifying pigtail. And I need these now because I need to know if this fits over the wooden structure, but all of my pieces are still white felt, and some of the pieces are gradated, so now I need to dye like half of my felt pieces. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna heat up some dye. I'm using Rit Dymore. Rit Dymore is specifically for synthetic fabrics, and this is a polyester felt. I'm gonna start
Oh,
with
did
my
you ask which
because
spooky
I
game I was
want these
playing?
pieces
Oh
to
yeah, I was just asking what game you're playing.
and one of them just needs to be lilac into blue. So for my piece that needs to be pink on the bottom, I'm gonna do a dip dye. So the way I do my dip dyes, the big thing is you do want to start with fabric that's already wet. I'll dip it a little bit, I'll take that part out and let some of that dye drip down. Then what I'll do is I'll take the whole thing out, take it over to the sink and run cold water over it so that it forces that dye downward even further. I feel like this step really does help getting the gradient to look a little better. If you don't do this, you can end up with really harsh lines where you stopped the dip. But yeah, I'm gonna dip the pink one until the whole bottom is pink, and then the middle of it is kind of sort of pink. And for the one that needs to be lilac and then blue, I'm just going to do a really light pink dip up to the part where it needs to start transitioning to blue. And then I'll just switch over to the blue dye. So the pink pieces are drying. And now I need to do the blue. And this might be where everything goes wrong because I didn't actually test to see if the gradient looks pretty yet. Also, as always, you need a pot that you don't actually use for food because you're putting poison in the pot and you don't want to put poison in your food. Who wants to be first? So I'm gonna get that in there and I'm gonna let it soak for a second and then I'm gonna quickly dunk the pink part.
Dying Light.
So I'm just gonna let it
I feel like I've heard that game before. Hold up.
as I say, not as I do.
Dying Light.
Nice. All right, now we can do blue, purple, pink with confidence. Piece is so long. Now stop dripping. I'm just gonna put this one on the floor because I don't think it's gonna stop dripping.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, look at
But
that.
what is that come out?
Yogurt. Yay! Now those just gotta dry and I can sew them together. Can you look at these pattern pieces and know how they go together?
No.
I can't either. But I have this thing and I am going to use it to know exactly how these go together because despite doing registration,
I'm not gonna enter it. I'm gonna move this in.
some of them are just missing, and some of them are not accurate. But to start, you know a couple of these pieces need darts. They're not really darts. This is the biggest one I have, so these two pieces need to come together. And normally, you don't go ahead and
I think I've seen about the game, but never like watch any gameplays about it.
But I'm gonna go ahead and sew this dart. What I'll say is they did give all these pieces half-inch seam allowances, so I did go ahead and put a piece of masking tape on my machine where the half-inch is. So with this one in, it already has like a curve, right? These two darts down here, so this one goes like that, and these ones go like that. So now this one's got some shape to it. Now I'm gonna go back up to the top, and it's gonna get really confusing because some of these pieces attach to the same piece, but on like opposite sides. It's very weird.
Okay, but just to confirm, Dying Light, it's not the same game like Dead by Daylight, right? They have a similar like name, but I don't think they're the same game.
That are actually telling me where it needs to go. I will be ignoring most of my registration marks because most of them are wrong at this point. Now A and B are together.
I can check the seam. Since you tell me to enter my birthday, I'm not doing that on stream.
But yeah,
I can check that out later.
Starts right here at the front of B and then continues down A. This really is the kind of thing that I would not recommend you do if you don't have really good spatial awareness. Okay. I have a big gap here, and I don't know if that's right. Coming to see. No, it is right. Normally, you'd be like, oh no, that piece didn't go far enough. But this pattern is so weird, that's actually right. Now, D here is weird. I know it starts here. That registration mark is correct. And then it goes all the way down through here. Oh, wait. I thought that was supposed to... Wait a minute. Oh. This piece does end up going here, but this side goes onto this part, and then this part ends up down here. This is literally where it starts to get twisted. So now the other thing with this piece is it has all of these scallops that need to be sewn into their corresponding scallops, which means I have like a bunch of inverted corners to do. Okay, so I think what I want to do is start by getting to that corner and then stopping. I'm going to take the whole thing off the machine. I'm gonna clip this, and then that should, yep, now I should be able to fudge this into place. And if it's a little really fudged, then that's fine, because it's getting covered in hair. This is not working. I don't actually know how you would do this. Oh, off we go again. Does that even look good? I mean, it's puckering, but it's not the worst. Seems coming apart a little bit. Now, I would look up how do you sew inverted scallops together, but I believe the answer is probably you don't. But, I mean, it doesn't look great, but it is working, so I guess I'll just keep doing that. This one's really fudged. Look at that. That's not right at all. I don't know why I'm even trying to do it this way. It's so unnecessary. No one will ever see this part. That's not bad. That's not bad. Okay, fine. It just looks bad on the inside. Woo! Now we have this. Still doesn't look like a pigtail, but it will eventually. So I'm going to take a break from my top pieces, and I'm going to go ahead and do these ones that go on the bottom. These two just go together. They are what form this curl at the end.
Nope, it's a very different. It sounds similar in name, but right now I'm playing the first game. There's three, but the one that came out almost a month ago, and I'm just playing the first game. Try it. 200% it now.
Is this one
I'm gonna
closed?
go like check it out later on like Steam,
What is
like on my own time.
Oh, it's this part. But yeah, that appears to be the end of the curl. So I'm gonna do that. Okay. This one might be very fudged, but look at that. That's the end of the curl. Now it's time to get twisted. Now I gotta try to remember how this closes, so it doesn't help that this keeps falling apart. Oh, see, remember? This is where the twist is. And this is also the other piece with scallops. But yeah, you can see how it's deflated, but you see where we're going? We're going round and round. Okay, I'm gonna do my best to install all these scallops, and then we'll get this on. And then we'll have something that maybe looks like a pigtail. So those scallops got very fudged, but look at what we have now. That looks like a pigtail to me. And we just need the bottom. And I'm pretty sure putting the bottom together is relatively easy because, yep, this piece goes here and then this piece goes here. And that's easy. But I think I will leave this edge open for a reason I will get to later. And I'm just going to sew this.
It's a zombie game, very fun and spooky, but not the way you imagine. Ah, interesting.
Though, because it's twisting around. And with that piece on, we have our big, giant Trix yogurt pigtail still inside out.
This is not for nerd music, right? Yeah, this is all what if music. It sounds like security break music.
Believe this is the front. So, like I'd seen the half scale and I was excited about the half scale, but it's so different when you see it in color. Wow. Also, this is a little terrifying because I hope to God I bought enough hair. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm gonna see if it fits on the wooden structure, and then we can start doing that. But I have spent so long thinking about this wig, and to have this in my hands, it finally feels like the ball is rolling. Let's see if this works. Mostly I need to see if it fits on top of this. It fits! This is the big test. Because we want to see how this moves. This works! I can't believe that this weird little system of little blocks and struts is making this much movement on this wig. I know it's gonna be really heavy. I know I'm probably gonna have to put more magnets in this.
Can I guess you play your favorite one? So right now I am still fixated on Cookie Run. There's like the new like Talent Soul update came out. But beyond that, I like sim games like Stardew Valley. What other sim? I guess The Sims. Like any like sim games, yada yada yada. Beyond that, I also like platformers like Ahead in Time, Mario. I guess Sonic. So pretty much any game that I can like speedrun, because I like speedrunning games. Like making like speedrun tactics, skipping levels, all that, saving time. I like doing that. Is anyone good at it though? I can never get those like speedrun tactics like correctly. It's fun, it's really fun doing.
It would just take a lot longer. And for how many pieces I had to cut for this saved me so much time that it was worth every penny. And I got myself that workbench because the last time I was cutting wood, I was
Yeah, I like speedrunning. I think I tried to speedrun Ahead in Time, like properly, like professionally back in the day. I did not do a good job at it, so I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna do it like casually. I'm gonna try and do it like professionally.
Anyway, ignore that one of them is a little deflated, because let me show you how I'm gonna undeflate both of them. Hey, merch, bonfire, cute, get some if you want some. Anyway, so to deflate these, I've decided to do something kind of weird. I am going to go with wire, but my fear is that if I filled this up with like a grid of wire, that would completely destroy any of the movement that I'm getting right now. So I have all of these seams going up in a spiral. So what if I turn my seam allowances into channels and then feed wire through that, and then the wire might be able to like spring a little bit, because I have this one long seam that starts all the way down here and goes all the way up to the top. But this one like crosses over some different seams. I'm actually going to install some bias tape on that seam, but some of these, and I already did this, so this one down here, I was able to just sew across the top, and that gave me a big enough channel for wire. And I think I'm actually going to do that in a couple places. But yeah, I'm going to install that bias tape. I'm going to close up some of my seam allowances. But before I put the wire in, I do have one more thing I need to do.
I love speeding with Celeste. I do play Celeste. And again, I suck at like speedrunning things. And Celeste is like, it's not a very like speedrunning heavy game, but you need to like perfect those jumps like perfectly if possible. Like the window for like failure in that game is so small. You can't. If you want to like clear a level, you need to be good parkouring. Park parkouring. English right now. But yeah, I don't think I've even like beaten Celeste yet because sometimes I get stuck on a level for like hours and I just like close the game. Eh, but I enjoy others playing. Others are more skilled than me. I'm not very good at the game.
They only want to sit up here, and when they do go back here, obviously the weight gets redistributed and it wants to fall off. But then the issue is that the way
I have seen speedruns of it. Can't play it right now, but it looks so cool. It is very. It's like so cool. If you want to see something more like cool and just like inhuman, just watch like test speedruns, tool assisted speedruns. Those type of speedruns are insane, actually inhuman because it's pretty much a speedrun that's been generated using like multiple like speedrunners like data, and then the computer like mix up a speedrun like route, and then the computer like just makes the speedrun. It 100% computer like control. But then the way that they do the speedrun is like, if I think even like the top speedrunners can do it, because those are like pixel perfect like tactics. I don't think even a human can do that. Even they can, maybe they can do like one or two tactics, but the test, they're doing every single thing pixel perfect. I hate it. But damn, is it entertaining to watch. And it's speaking that the best speedrunner, you probably beat me the most popular games. Actually, speaking of about that, so what games are you into? Are you like into horror, or is that just like just for now?
When she used it for her backplate for her Hawk Girl wings, and I have actually used it for backplates on 2 winged cosplays, so I still had some in my foam stash. What you see me cutting here was my first idea, and the first idea was basically a foam helmet. And I quickly realized that if the structure wasn't going rainbow over my head, this was probably going to have the same flexibility problem that the metal had and still squish into my temples. So after cutting all of this out, I just grabbed a longy piece, shaped it over the wig head, and created this. A big stupid headband. It's freaking Occam's razor, y'all. I drilled some holes into it, and now I have a much simpler, more versatile base for the pigtails to swing off of. But then the question became, how do I keep that on my head? So I tried the magnets again, and that did not work. And after more experimenting, I have turned to Velcro and a very, very, very strange wig cap. So this is my weird wig cap. So throughout this entire project, for obvious reasons, I've been looking up a lot of stuff about kimono. And one of the things I came across that I had never seen before was traditional Japanese...
Variety, I can go from Genshin Impact to Apex Legends, passing by Daylight, Daylight, or Cell games. I got range like big. And let's not forget the best game to release after 32. Yes, the most relaxing game. Definitely. I think even Grandma will enjoy a nice game of Doom, right?
sturdy, non-stretch fabric and do Velcro, then I would know that the Velcro wasn't gonna move. So
Wait, speaking of Doom,
this is my design. I have one longy
which is already out, like Doom 2, right?
ribbon, and then
Yeah,
this
it's already out.
is pretty different than the traditional wig caps, so it tightens.
That's my only question.
And you'll notice I've already also installed a in it, which you may have already figured out why I did that. But for what we need to talk about now, it's got Velcro on it, and it stays pretty sturdy on my head. For the corresponding Velcro, how am I gonna get Velcro to stick to
Speaking of Genshin Impact, I no longer play Genshin because I just lost interest. I'm now more into like Honkai Star Rail and Zenless Zone Zero, but I still do keep up with like what's happening in Genshin Impact, and I see like the new character Llama. Love her. She's my new favorite character. Also, she's just so pretty. I love her. Also, Dia.
Eventually get probably hair on it, maybe, I don't know. And then we have the essential part, which is this. So what this is just a piece of duck cloth, and it has 3 strips of corresponding Velcro that correspond to the wig cap, and then it has a bunch of grommets installed into it.
Feel like it's
When it goes onto the cintra,
just give it a minute.
right through it. Now what I need to do is sew these pieces together and encase the cintra in its fabric covering. So to make the fabric covering, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 2 pieces and I'm going to put them right sides together, and I'm going to sew around all of these edges, but I'm not going to sew up this side because obviously I need to get the cintra in there. But then once those are sewn, I can flip everything inside out and stick the cintra in there. You may have noticed that I didn't put any grommets on the top side, and that's mostly because I'm being lazy, but the top side doesn't need to be as structurally sound as the bottom side, so I'm actually just going to seam rip all these holes. They just need to be big enough for the bolts to come through, so they don't even really need to be big holes. Alright, let's see if we can get this in there. Okay, there's one bolt. These ones here on the side are the ones that attach to the actual pigtail. And then these ones at the top are gonna hopefully end up being a similar system.
My sentence got cut off like 3 times. Dear Lord. Okay, so just quickly rephrase. So I haven't played Genshin in a long time. I'm more into HSR and Zenless Zone Zero right now, but I still keep up with Genshin stuff. Like I know that their new character Llama. I love Llama. I love her design. I love everything about her. That's it. That's pretty much it. I just don't play Genshin anymore because I lost interest.
But I am going to need to go through and hand sew this cover to the cintra, because what we don't want is the Velcro to be like slipping around a bunch. And I think if I sew this up nice and tight, then it won't do that. And once I have this done, I guess it's finally time for this wig video to have some wigs in it.
I did not get a single thing to say about Doom and Genshin because my Genshin kept lagging. Dang. Also, no, I don't have Llama because I don't play Genshin Impact anymore. I've lost interest, but I still like keep up with like anything Genshin related news.
Their fiber is super heat resistant. The colors are beautiful and dimensional. I'm not being paid to say this. I am just
Also, the Doom one, you don't need to know that that was like a dumb joke. You don't need to like hear it.
Because last year when I won at home, Matt, I got a $200 Arta gift card. And so I used it to buy all of the wigs for this. The biggest thing here is that I was not sure when I bought these, and I still am not sure about how this fiber is gonna go onto the wig. And I also knew that I was probably gonna have to dip dye a bunch of fiber because there is that gradient on the hair. The original plan that I had was to buy a base wig, a blue wig, and 2 of these. This is the Delilah. This is the longest wig that Arta sells, I think. It's really, really long. It goes down, Jesus, it goes down to my feet, or at least the packaging does. So this is a lot of white hair. And the other thing about Arta, the bad thing about Arta really, they do have a lot of back order problems, especially when it comes to the white wigs. I wanted to buy 2 Delilahs, but by the time I went to add it to my cart, there was only 1 left in stock. So I only got 1. And my thought with the Delilah was that I was going to need to have the fiber go all the way down the wig, but I don't really know yet what to do with the pigtails. But this is for the pigtails. And then I got 2 white Luthians, and one of them will probably end up getting gradient dyed, but I got 2 to make up for only having 1 Delilah. And then I got 1 powder blue Venus, and I got the Venus because the Luthian was sold out of powder blue. And then I got 1 short Vivian Classic. And this one is going to be my base wig. We will be conquering the pigtails another day. For now, I want to talk to you about how I want to do the base wig. So the Vivian's pretty short, but its style doesn't actually matter because I think what I'm going to need to do is hack it completely.
Wait a minute, that was steam.
The plan I have, it's not even really going to be a wig.
Oh, what's a steam interpretation? I have not opened steam in
my wig cap.
weeks.
The biggest problem with my strawberry Miku wig, because the pigtails were going through the actual wig, it was really hard to keep the hairline where it needed to be. So I had to use a ton of tape, a ton of pins. I had to braid my hair in a specific way. My hair needed to be dirty so that it would stay where I wanted it. And it was a huge pain in the ass, and I had to do it like that every single time. So what I'm trying to do with this wig is have the bangs and the pigtail part totally separate from the pigtails, so that when they're on this wig cap, if the pigtails move, the bangs don't move, and the pigtail part doesn't move. And yeah, I am going to do a real pigtail part for this. This is the base that I have made for the pigtail part, and it is just made of felt, and as you can see, I have sewn 3 parachute clips into it. And there are 3 corresponding parachute clips in the wig cap. So now I can essentially just glue fiber onto this felt base, and I'll have a whole pigtail back. For the front of the wig, though, I have already installed a bunch of parachute clips for what will become the bangs, or the front of the wig. But the issue is, now I have to cut this wig apart. But this is a good opportunity to show you how this goes on my head. This is 3M skin tape, transport tape. It is what they use at the hospital when they put an IV in your arm and they tape it down. It's that tape. So it's really strong. It's safe to use on your skin. But yeah, when it's like this, I put this piece of tape in the middle and I tape it to my forehead. Now this wouldn't be super necessary if I didn't have such a giant wig, but I have a giant wig, so I have to tape it to my head. And then the way this goes, the longy pieces, and you wrap them around the back like this, and you don't tie them, you just hold them taut. And I'm gonna put this piece in my mouth, and then I'm gonna get my tape, and I get a longy piece, and I put it on here like that, and then I'll take this one and hold it tight, and wrap it around my head, and tape it in the back. And I take the other piece, and I do the same thing. And then in the back, I also have this part, tighten that a little bit. So now I have a weird wig cap on my head. This gets clipped up here, gets clipped right there, and right there. But anyway, gotta make an almighty decision. I guess I just need to part it like rainbow through my ears. I feel like that might be what we want, but I want an even amount of hair. Okay. That doesn't feel like it's a whole lot of wig. I mean, that's a decent amount of wig. I'm gonna take this off my head and cut this wig apart. And I'm gonna cut off these.
I was in a fight, so couldn't apply, but your invention is something. You're sure something. Oh, you have now model. No, nice. I am AR-59. I got 100% exploration on Mondstadt and Netland, and not cry in some area in Azuma and Sumedo. I got most quests done. Was characters well built, so yeah, I get why people just stop playing. I just can't handle like doing the daily things, and also exploration is like, it does get repetitive after a while. And I know if you don't want repetitiveness, do the main quest, do the quest, but even the quest is like, where am I going? Where is this? You want me to get what? I don't have the patience for it.
Hard to hide, so I immediately knew that I needed to take some of these sewn wefts and turn them into glued wefts. What I've been doing is I've been putting tacky glue on top of plastic, putting the folded weft on.
So hold up, not cry. Is that the last region? Is that already out? I thought we saw at Netland.
If I use this hair in the state that it's in now, I'm gonna run out of hair really fast. So the other thing I tried was crimping. And yeah, I know all the kids these days are using the crimping technique. It's everywhere on TikTok. Everybody's crimping. You should crimp your wigs.
It was already out?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know like the last region is like something like Russian or something inspired, and it's like the ice region. That's what I know.
I feel like I found a technique.
I did not know it's called not cry. Oh.
So I will show you the techniques I'm using for that later. But all you need to know is all of the hair got crimped. So my wefts are dry and I have a table full of them. And so now I have all these wefts with this lovely, well, ugly glued part, and then all of this wefty stuff up at the top, and I'm just gonna cut the wefty stuff right off. So now I have all these little guys with a cleaner edge to do the pigtail back with. But obviously I don't want to just like place them like this. and then glue them down that way, because then I get all this ugly glue in here. So instead of placing them like this, I'm gonna take them and place them this way so that then they can get folded over, and that looks a lot more natural. To place them on there, I have a couple options. I could just use the tacky glue again, but then I'd have to wait another day for that to dry. I could go use the Gorilla Glue, but then I'd have to deal with the bugs outside, and I'm kind of on a quest to see how true Bernina's claim is that the crafter can sew through almost anything, so I'm gonna try to sew them on. Okay, so all those are pinned. Let's see if we can sew through this. Okay, so I'm gonna set the machine to a zigzag stitch. So I guess I'm just gonna try to keep this as flat as possible and sew through it. Let's see.
Last region is not cramped. We're going into 6.1 in a few days.
Well,
But I already have 100% because I love it, so there's already nothing left except small quests. And yet, Nesnaya. Yeah, I definitely butchered the pronunciation. It's Russian inspired and not cry is a small independent part of it, technically. If I got the lore right. Oh! So it is part of the region, but it's like a micro island nation thingy.
I think with some heat styling, it'll look nice. I guess the next step is to sew the other side on, and I'm going to sew the other side on the same way I did this side. I'm going to put them on backwards and sew them all in, and then I can get to doing probably a little bit of heat styling to get this part where I want it to be. So while I was able to sew it on, I wasn't able to sew it like directly into the part because I have these two plastic bones in here. So I do kind of have this gap in between them.
I think it's like that, yeah. Oh. So wait, how small is not cry? If you like able to like complete it already, it has to be like super small then.
Smush it into the glue.
There's no way you can finish everything in just in like before the big update comes out.
3 hands for this. I'm gonna clip this over here, and I'm gonna hold that in place with the comb and then steam it. And I'm gonna keep holding it there so it cools down a little bit, then I can take my comb out. And now it's facing that way, and it's closer to the middle. So now I just have to do that to the rest of the part, and I'm gonna go through with a Sharpie and give a little more dimension to the roots of the part, and then I can get to gluing all the loose ends down, which I think I'm just gonna do by laying tacky glue across all of the felt, laying this down, letting it get stuck into the glue, and then spraying it with got to be glued. Tacky glue and the got to be glued will be secure enough to keep everything.
It's not that small, not really big. It has enough content, I would say. Just pet ran it. Oh.
Do a whole lot in the middle, so it still looks a little bit fluffy, and then I'll just have to cut off all the excess hair, and I'll have a friggin' pigtail part. So I went ahead and sectioned this off. So this piece here in the middle is gonna be the actual bangs, and then these are my side pieces. But yeah, I'm just gonna steam the crap out of this part. So then for the middle section, I actually wanna steam all of this fiber directly up, because this part becomes the actual, like, bangs. And we want them to be nice and fluffy and have lots of volume. Okay, so now I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna curl these sides, and I have a detailed explanation of how I use these specific curlers in this video, but the basic explanation.
So I'm thinking about ending the stream like soon.
My ends in there.
After
Around that.
I'm done like painting the body here, I'm gonna call it night.
In the curlers, I'm just gonna.
Is that okay? Because I'm gonna stream again like in the morning. Right now it's like 12 a.m. where I am. But I'm gonna be streaming again tomorrow morning at like 11 a.m. Just like whatever. I'm gonna just like call it quits and then
Go through and I Elmer's glued these sides going this way.
and then just continue wherever I left off.
Part I want in the middle and what part I want on the sides. So I'm never gonna deal with that again because I glued it. And then my middle bangs are still too long, but like this is why I curled it first, is because you see how much length I lost when I curled it? I'm gonna go ahead and cut those. The biggest thing is you wanna cut this way and not this way. You wanna cut up and not sideways. Those are cute actually, and they move around a lot because we curled them. Now I just need to put this back on the wig head and mess with it with the comb and the hair dryer and the hairspray until it looks how I like it. This part of wig styling I'm not very good at. This part of wig styling for me is just doing stuff until it does what I want it to do. So I don't know if I have any huge tips for this, but I'm just gonna mess with it until it does what I want it to do. So So the last piece of this wig puzzle is the very top
I'll
part.
probably be there because right now it's 6 p.m. and I'll probably be up till like 12. Oh my lord, so I'll probably be watching again. Going to eat. Oh.
Cut a hole through the skin topper and then also cut 2 holes in the netting. So that
Wait, are you gonna be up just playing like Dying Light? Is that it?
I don't know yet how it's gonna stay on there. I think it'll have something to do with the bonnet. But yeah, basically all I did was cut the front sections so they'd match the length of the bangs that are already on there. And then I took the whole back sections and I just cut them kind of short. And again, to make sure none of the sections get confused for any other section, I'm going in again with the Elmer's glue and making sure they stay exactly where I put them. So, if you'll remember the wings, I have already made them out of felt. They need to be their own separate pieces and they'll get attached to the pigtails as well. These pieces need to be the ones that make use of the Delilah, the really long wig. Because with the wrapping around pigtails, there should be plenty of spots where I can hide new wefts.
I don't think I'll be only playing Dying Light, but maybe I'll be playing for a while, to be honest. Don't worry, because sometimes I even like, oh, just one more game. Then I keep playing for 3 more hours.
The wig is getting messed up regardless. The second I get this wig out of the plastic, it's gonna start tangling. And that's why I'm over here in the corner, because I have this light stand up here on top of the door. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get this out of the package and immediately hang it from the light.
By the way, let me know when you're about to end stream, because there's something I gotta show you. Yeah.
My whole freaking life, because now my package
Maybe 5 or so minutes, and then I'll end the stream.
probably gonna get tangled anyway.
Gaming be like that. Yeah, the famous one more. The greatest lie we tell ourselves.
Here we go. Okay, go. Here's the wig. It does not even fit in the frame. There she is. Okay, so I really need 8 chunks. Each wing has a chunk of white, and each wing has the gradient chunk. I'm gonna get rid of the headache boys because not only do they cause headaches, I feel like they snag onto the wig so easily. All right, almighty decision. Okay, now we have the hard part of getting this to separate. Oh, okay. All right. She came right off. She's off. All right, okay. And I'm gonna hang her up too. So I'm gonna stand here and nervously cut this whole wig apart into sections and hang them up. And once they're all in sections, I should be okay to just like make decisions from there. But it really just needs to get separated. It's not that big a deal if it gets a little tangled because, you know, it's not that hard to detangle a wig, but it obviously is gonna take more time to sit there and detangle this wig. And because it's so long, it's like, it doesn't sound like a good time. I have ended up with 9 sections now, but now that I have 9 sections, I'm gonna take 4 of them and I'm gonna dye them. You can dye synthetic wigs with Rit Dye More because guess what? Rit Dye More is basically for any plastic. You can kind of dye any plastic with it, including beads. But yeah, I'm gonna gradient dye 4 of these sections and then I'm gonna get to trying to make some wings. I wish for a wig with wings that work. I think like 2 people will get that joke and both of them will be my siblings. So after I got done with the dyeing, I went through and I crimped all of the long hair, which took forever to the point where I bought another crimper because the one I was using was so awful. But now that all the hair is crimped, it's time to make some wings. Truth be told, I have to make 4 of these. Here's one I already did. Look at it. I'm so happy with these. So now I'll show you how I made this. I'm just gonna lay it on top of my felt. I'm not gonna do any glue yet. I'm just gonna lay it. And you'll notice if you start trying to get this to swirl, it kind of doesn't want to do it. But what you can do is you can warm the hair up with a hairdryer. Now that it's warm, I can shape it a lot easier. So I'm just gonna furl this into a little guy. And again, he doesn't want to stay. So I'm gonna hold him in place and I'm gonna hit him with the hairdryer. So now that that's sort of in the spot that I want it, I'm gonna hit it with the got to be glued and hair dry it again. And that should stay for now. So then I'm gonna take another little section, I'm gonna warm it up, do another little swoop, just twist it around and wrap that around that part. We're gonna warm it up, we're gonna spray it, set the hairspray with the hairdryer. But yeah, the general gist of this is warm it up, shape it, heat it, spray it, heat it. The Got2b glue does have a pretty good hold on this, but this is not going to stay on the felt if I leave it like this. And we want to make sure these curls don't come apart. So honestly, what I do is I'm going to pick it up like that. See how it is staying together. And I'm going to flood the felt with glue. I'm going to grab my paintbrush, get some water on it, and spread that glue out. Press it into that glue. And then I'm going to go through in some strategic places, like right here and in the center. I'm going to kind of flood the center of it with glue. And that glue can be messy because what we're going to do
I think I'm done. What was that thing you want to show me?
spread it out. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do now is put glue under everything I've already done. So for this part, the first thing I'm going to do is spray it with the Got2b glued and heat it so that it sort of stays in a sheet. And I'm going to carefully fold this whole thing backwards so that now I can flood all of this with glue. So now, as you probably expect, I'm just going to take this part and fold it back down.
Oh, I have done a raid before, but it's like,
Take my scissors.
it's just you, bro. It's just one person. But usually I raid like this one, like animal sanctuary thing. That's all. Why, you want to do a raid?
The edge of the table, and this is where you got to be careful. This is dangerous. I'm going to comb the excess hair out because there's going to be some excess hair from the short part of that wig. That's how much hair I got out. And now I'm going to take my thinning scissors. So these are the
Me
kind
and you were two people. Yes, 1 plus 1.
Because they managed to sharpen these for me at DragonCon, so thank you so much to them.
And we should if you wanna. Yeah, sure. I'm fine with it. Let me check if the animal sanctuary thing is like still online. Pa, 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 pa. What is it? Bitch.
Glue on top of it too, because this needs to stay exactly where we put it. And wet paintbrush it.
The Alpha Sanctuary.
Pretty coated in glue.
Are the animals sleeping?
Take clip.
They're awake!
And let it dry. These do kind of have to be done
I-
backwards.
They're awake!
They are, but yeah, that's the white part. I have
Okay, hold up. Can I do a raid from just here, or do I need to go to my Steam Manager thingy?
I can shape it, shaping it into place, heating it up against.
Yeah, I need to go to the Steam Manager thingy. Hold on. I got raid suggestions if you want me to stream me for you. Oh, sure. You can just show it to me in chat. I'm okay with that.
On top to make sure everything stays. But even with all the glue and hairspray that I have on,
Oh, that's a nice little thingy.
quite enough to really
Oh, I can just change it. Okay, okay.
So the other thing I'm doing
Oh.
with these is giving them
When did they have this?
shields.
Doesn't feel less I've been here.
I'm cutting a piece out that's larger than the wing so that I can place it on top of the wing, flip everything over, and yeah, you gotta wait for all of the glue to dry before you do this or you'll mess everything up. And then from the back side, I'm folding the tool over, and I was actually trying to sew these on, but with the tacky glue in the felt now hardened, it made it really hard to sew through.
Lucio 283 and Selson. Ah.
And it's all on the back.
Hold on, let me switch them up.
Now they have
Lucio.
see through that you can't really see at all unless you're like right up at the cosplay, and that's gonna keep all of that hair in place forever. And with the wings,
No, they're not online right now.
cut up and crimp all of the other ones. So I spent forever doing that.
Alright.
Keep away the really harsh crimping.
Oh, they are alive.
The first thing is a fine tooth comb. If you comb the fibers right after they've been crimped and they're still
Oh, this is
you straighten
this is a video.
a little bit, creating the texture but not a uniform texture. The second thing is to redirect the hair.
Yeah, they're all offline. Okay.
When it's done. And with these wefts, it's actually pretty easy because I can just pin them to the wig head at an angle, so when they end
That
up
was.
none of the zigzags line
Oh, they're alive though.
But yeah, I gradient dyed and crimped one of the white
Oh, that's nice art though.
crimped the other white
Final Fantasy.
crimped the Venus. So now it's actually time to start.
Oh, let me full screen this. Sadly, stop moving.
I'm finally gonna get hair on these pigtails. I got my practice in with the
Can I just like raid from here?
but I know these are gonna be a little
I'm too lazy to open the thingy.
the air, they're not flat on the table. Okay, I have to
Fine, I'll do it in the stream thingy.
that I need to tell
Live in the feed. Twitch.
structure of the wig. And I stop right
Twitch indeed.
see it in this
Okay, what view?
wire didn't really do a whole lot to keep the wigs in their shape. So what I ended up doing was adding hanger wire rings, sort of like how you do like a hoop skirt. So I was able to just hand sew them into the pigtails. The big integral thing though is that the bottommost ring starts right above the zipper and it has an extra bolt stuck into it. That extra bolt then gets bolted to the very bottom of the wooden structure, forcing the pigtails to sit outward and also connecting the bottom of
My
the
phone
pigtail
just I'm
to the
just
wooden
gonna do it
structure,
here.
so it all
Up,
swings in
up,
once.
up.
Okay, that's the thing you needed to know. Now we're gonna put fiber on the pigtails. I have done
Hey,
all the
dashboard.
things in preparation
Y'all
for
will
the
get to
weft,
see things.
but I
I
have
don't
not
care.
gone and
Where is it?
prepared
This
any
thing.
wefts. I did these just like I did the blue ones before.
Why is
So
it
my
slow?
plan right now is to start from
There
the
we go.
bottom and go up. What I'm gonna do first
That's what it is.
is get
Yeah,
the
that's actually what I was trying to do. I was trying to open it on my phone. It refused to open.
and pinning it
Okay,
in
where's the
sewing
thing?
pins,
Wait,
and
channel.
then figuring out where each of the wefts needs to start and where each of them
Was it?
Once I sort of have an idea
So.
of that, I'm gonna take this whole setup
Mm.
down to my garage and I'm gonna gorilla glue the wefts onto the felt.
That right.
Didn't catch that
Oh,
big glue
go.
video. The
Oh, now
gorilla
you
glue
open my
is
phone.
clear
God
copper,
dang.
which means if I put a little bit on my weft and I put a little bit on my felt and wait for that glue to get tacky, I should be able to stick the two together and they should immediately bond, which means those wefts will get into place immediately, which is important because they're now hanging. But once I have that one section that's actually really bonded to the pigtail already, I can switch over to using tacky glue and glue the rest of that fiber down. So the Gorilla Glue did a
Montrose work.
in there, but now I gotta figure out how to get this to go where I want it. This piece needs to go
Trish
like
refuses
this,
to
and then
move.
inside of this. Honestly, it might be easier if I like flipped the whole thing over.
That's right.
All right, I've got her on the floor now, but essentially my plan to get this fiber to sit is to do exactly what I was doing before and heat them, shape them, heat them up again, spray them, heat them one more time, and then go in and glue them. My concern is it falling apart. So I think I'm going to do some glue.
Okay, there we go.
Here too. So these pieces up here I think are going to be a little easier, but I have a weird thing
Wow.
thinking about.
Which really refuses to work on my phone.
Pretty loosey-goosey, which is going to make it harder for me to get the glue on there and like press it into the glue. And I had this idea a long time ago, and I tried it with the half scale, and it did work. And I don't know if it'll work with this, and you'll probably figure out why. But the idea is to blow a balloon up inside of the pigtail so that I have a hard surface to work off of. But as you know, there is metal and wire inside of the pigtail, so this might just pop. If you don't hit that like button right now,
I'm gonna end the stream.